Hello, everybody, and welcome to National Yawning Day with the Great Big Yawn. I am absolutely thrilled to be here with you all. So I'm hoping that our other director, Kay Story, is going to be checking that we are actually live on Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn. And if not, then I'm hoping that she's going to start doing that right now. So wherever you are, if you are watching us, because this is the first time we've done this with the Great Big Yawn for National Yawning Day online, it would be awesome if you can give StreamYard access. You have to say yes to StreamYard to make a comment. But if you could let us know where you are actually watching from, that's really going to make our life a lot easier. Let's just get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way before we begin. So if you need to give StreamYard access so that you can put your comments and we can see who it is, and let us know where you are actually watching from. If it's Facebook, if it's YouTube, or if it's LinkedIn, that would just help us enormously. So welcome to the Great Big Yawn. Welcome to National Yawning Day. So why on earth has there been something called National Yawning Day being created? Well, it's been created because my personal experience of the yawn has been really quite intense. And as an excessive yawner, and there are such things as excessive yawners, I decided to go and investigate what this actually meant. So I've looked up as many scientific articles as I could find, the proper things. And with the work that I do as an energy therapist, yawning is seen as a really great relief for somebody's mental, emotional, and physical stresses. So from my point of view, when I see someone that I'm working with start to yawn, it's a really great thing because I know that they're settling deeper into their body and feeling safer, or maybe it's the other way around, but they are starting to feel safer in their own personal space, which is amazing. So the Great Big Yawn is now a social enterprise. We're a community interest company, and we set up in March this year of 2024. So we've been going for a few months, and we've been having some really fabulous conversations with people about yawning. And immediately, as soon as we say this, then somebody will start to laugh. So to me, that means we've already helped somebody change their state, their emotional state and mental state immediately, just by opening up a conversation about yawning. Because yawning is one of the most contagious things that we have out there, and it connects the whole of humanity with a simple action that doesn't actually require a language. Now, the fact that it doesn't require a language means that we can make that connection wherever we are in the world by this innate action that happens. And I started to have all these conversations with people and realized that actually there's a lot in this yawn just by opening up that connection, that rapport, that, oh, how interesting, nobody's ever talked to me about yawning before. And when we think about it, yawning is something that every single one of us does. And we accept that we do it, but nobody talks about it unless we're saying, am I boring you? No, I'm just exhausted. Oh, yeah, me too. Oh, gosh, I didn't sleep last night. So you see, immediately we're in that conversation that is really quite negative and might be even bringing us down a little bit further than we need to be. So if I was finding this personal relief, and so are many of my clients, and so are many of the alternative healers and therapists and people who are actually doing a lot of what we call energy work, of shifting somatic work, breathing techniques, EFT, emotional freedom technique, Reiki, NLP, hypnosis, even a detox of when you change your diet, you will have these what we call detox symptoms of yawning and burping and farting and all these different things. But the yawn has been a really prevalent thing with everything that I've been investigating. So I started to talk about people, and we're having a lot of fun with it. So we've got lots of photos that we're going to show you. And we are here to create literally a contagious yawn of relief around the globe, which is a really big claim. And we could be just doing it on social media and make this great big thing on social media. But I've got to be honest, I'm not that social media person to be able to do that. So I'm talking to people and we're training people up to become yawning ambassadors so that they can talk about the yawn on our behalf. So behind the scenes, and I'm delighted to see so many of them sort of joining now, I'm going to sort of bring people on, and our director, Kay Story, and we're just going to have a little conversation together about what everybody's up to. So I'm just going to bring Kay up. Kay, hi, how are you, Kay?
Hello, this is me in the background trying to work tech. I can't see us live.
Oh, it's delightful to have you here, Kay. So you were one of the first people that I spoke to about getting involved with the Great Big Yawn, and you said yes. A crazy woman, you said yes. So tell us why you decided to get involved and become a director of the Great Big Yawn.
A few reasons. So firstly, I've known you for a short while, Rachel, and I also know the magic that you bring to people and the lives that you change, and the work you do is just, it's incredible, really. And when you told me about it, at first I was like, okay, let's how does this work? And the more you talked about it, the more it seemed doable, it seemed accessible, and I could see your vision of how this was going to work and the scale that it could grow to. So this wasn't ever I've got this idea, let's run with it. It was real bigger picture stuff. So my background's in branding, so I work with a lot of people and I work with their visions, and when someone's got something with legs. And I think I just joined you in that vision of seeing this amazing thing come to life. And we had a big discussion about it. And I said, well, I can help you in the background and we'll help with guidance, with the marketing and the branding and all those things. I mean, sometimes I'm up front, hello everyone, but it is you out there, pounding the pavements and doing things. And for me, especially with I celebrated 25 years in business, and I wanted to do something, and a party didn't seem to cut it, and I could do a little event. And actually me backing you felt like giving something on a bigger scale than I could ever imagine. And I've always completely believed in you and your practices and what you do, because I've even experienced that for myself and my family. Even going back to lockdown when you helped my daughter, it really is powerful stuff. And it's not stuff that people are signing up, signing the life away to join. It's easy, accessible, and this really is for everybody on every level, where they've got an opportunity to find community, they've got an opportunity to change their lives and impact their communities. So it was a bit of a no-brainer for me, because for me to do something like this and support you in this and just see where it goes, I jumped in with both feet.
Oh, and I'm so delighted that you did, Kay, because we are having so much fun. So our mission statement, everyone, just so you know, is, she says, coughing away, is to create a contagious yawn of relief around the globe, and to change the paradigm of the yawn from boredom, apathy, and exhaustion to hope, creativity, possibility, and relief. Now, because that's our mission statement, it's a really big claim, but actually it's so possible, because now that I've gone into the science behind it and I realize what is actually happening from a scientific perspective with the actual yawn and everything that it's doing to our body and our mind, it feels even more important to bring this out for people's attention, because when we are going into that negative conversation of, oh, am I boring you? No, I'm just exhausted. I didn't sleep last night. How long have we been thinking that about the yawn? And from what age have we been programmed to think that every single time that we yawn? Because if we've been doing that from being a young child, it's subconsciously embedded in us within to think that we're boring every time we yawn, every time that we open our mouth. I'm boring, I'm exhausting, without us even realizing. So the conversations alone, as I mentioned earlier, are proving to be really interesting. And we have, we've put together a yawning survey, and the yawning survey has been showing us, and as far as I'm aware, I think this is one of the largest social studies that have ever happened on yawning in the world, because I've not really found another social study on yawning. So we've had over 70 people now fill in our yawning survey, and we've had some fantastic results. So I'm going to try and Kay's going to talk to you for a moment while I go into the background, if that's okay, Kay, and get the yawning survey and then be able to show it to you, just a few slides of what we've been finding.
Yeah, cool. So hi everyone. So I'm Kay Story, director, in case you're just joining us live. And I just want to tell you about some of the excitement and impact I've seen personally from following Rachel on this journey. And that goes back to March, when we launched at the It's Mental live show. And the amount of people we had, Bod, we got the lovely Joe Brown with us, we had Maisie with us, and we were working that room. And one thing that was really obvious to me was curiosity. So every time we met someone and we started talking about it, and it's an easy introduction really. So you'd say, did you know you first yawned in the womb, for example? Did you know? And you give people some real basic facts. And just the nature of human beings, they were like, no. And it wasn't trying to sell something, it wasn't trying to bombard someone with information. And because it has a bit of a fun element, or that curiosity immediately kicked in, and people were asking us for more information, which is proof that we've got an amazing vehicle for this movement. So when we were talking to people and we were working that room, that huge arena, and the amount of people was like, we've got a board, will you come on and do this? Will you join in? Will you share what yawning means to you? Will you actually do a yawn? Let's photograph you doing this. So many people were so warm, so receptive to what we were doing. It was just fabulous. And that event proved to us that this is something really special. And the amount of people who wanted more information, asked to follow, it wasn't a hard sell, because we were giving people something that they've been doing forever. So it's relatable, which is amazing. And it's something, a practice that they can put into their lives very easily. Now, Rachel will not mind me saying that as soon as Rachel and I get on a call and we're talking to each other, she triggers me. She doesn't say a word, but just being in her presence usually sets me off yawning. And we laugh. So, meetings are sometimes longer than they should be because the pair of us are yawning, but it's great, And just going back to when we did the It's Mental live, when we launched back in March, what I loved was the diversity of people that wanted to get involved. So I know we had some of the veterans on there, like, oh, what's this then? But actually, they gave us their time, and they saw the benefits immediately and really got behind us, which was fantastic. We've had children that have lit up while we've been talking about it. They want to get involved. So it really does. One thing I really love about this, it's not related to age, to sex, to religion. It is universal. And that's
totally inclusive. Total inclusivity, isn't it, really?
Absolutely. And we just want people to get on board with the yarn, and everybody is welcome. And I love that. And it just proved when we did that show that, this really is a something for everybody. It truly is special. I don't know. Yeah, it's. I feel very lucky that Rachel asked me, and I said yes.
Oh, well, I'm delighted that you're here because we are having so much fun, and just seeing people's faces behind in the background. Some of our Yawning ambassadors are now waiting to come on. So let me tell you first about what a Yawning. Oh, no, I'm ahead of myself. I've got to stop myself. As excited as I am to share the Yawning ambassadors because they're so fantastic. First of all, I want to give you some figures. I want to show you why the yawn is actually so important and changing the paradigm of it from boredom, apathy and exhaustion, as Kay has been saying, with such ease with veterans and, you know, people who felt very, very stifled. You know, this area here, when you clench your jaw, and so many people right now have got their jaws clenched tight because of what is going on in the world, and grinding their teeth, this area becomes so tight that actually we don't feel safe actually opening our mouth very wide. So that little yawn that might start, sometimes oh no, I'm just going to start yawning, we'll literally want to start being pushed down because we might not feel like it's polite to yawn in public. And this is what's been really interesting about our survey. And I'm going to press the present button, and I've never done this before, so bear with us. So present. And it's not staying on. Present. Right, let me go over here. If I go over there and it says present share screen, I'm on a different screen. And now I can't see you. So bear with me. No, that's not the one. So who's done present before? Slides. Can you do this, Kay? Because it's not working for me, this present button. It's just coming off it.
You have to preload them up because I've just hit present and it says you have no slides.
Oh, right.
Ooh.
Okay. So I can do that. Let me go back to brown. Let's have a look underneath here. Where do I put them in?
The share screen at the bottom. Let's have a look.
It says share screen, but it's not allowing me to share the screen. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to bring in, whilst we're waiting, and I'm going to work this out. We're going to bring in out all of our Yawning ambassadors who we've got here on stage. So if everybody's ready, I don't know, Maisie's not there at the minute. Has everyone got the t-shirts on? And you're all ready to show yourselves off in all your glory. For those of you who are there, we're going to say hello to Sadie. We're going to say hello to Joe Brown. We're going to say hello to Mandy. So hello, ladies. And we're just waiting for Maisie to come back from wherever she's gone. And we'll bring Maisie up as well. So because I was obviously so excited about introducing you, then that's obviously what we've got to do. And I'll show the slides later. Ladies, thank you for coming on. And these are some of the first ladies who came and joined us as Yawning ambassadors. So what is a Yawning ambassador? I'll just briefly explain. A Yawning ambassador is someone that we've trained up. They've been on one of our courses, and they've trained themselves up now to actually talk with some authority about the Great Big Yawn, our mission statement. They have the facts of the science behind them and where this is all developed from, and their own personal experiences as well, that we've been helping people to feel safe enough to share. Because like I said, this area here, if you are not able to yawn and open that mouth wide, then you notice it, and the figures with the survey will show that afterwards. But they've all got their own individual stories with the yawning experience as well. So hello, Sadie and Mandy and Joe. Take yourselves off mute and just come and say hello to everybody. I know that you've all got your own little moments to come shortly, but just give us a brief insight as to why you joined. We might as well do this together. We've got Maisie as well. We're going to bring Maisie up, bring up to the stage. Hey, Maisie. Wonderful.
Hey, hi.
Lovely to have you all, ladies. Isn't this nice? On the little screen, I'm just going to take a little photo shot while we're here. So, we're going to be hearing from Mandy first, if that's all right, Mandy. Just come on and just give us a little brief intro now as to actually why you came and got involved as a Yawning ambassador, and then we're going to come back to Mandy after because she's going to tell us a lovely story.
Hi everyone, thanks Rachel for including me and inviting me today. Yeah, I've known Rachel for a few years now, and when she talked about the yawn at first, like everyone else, I was like, what's this all about? But obviously, like I think like Kay said earlier, a bit of curiosity takes over you. It's something we all do. It's something we do without thinking about really. And like anything that I come across in my life, I like to do a little bit of research, find out more, how can it benefit me and the people in my life? Because my background is 34 years as a children's nurse, working all across Greater Manchester. And for the last 8 years, having left the NHS about 8 years ago, I work privately. I work with adopted children, I work with foster children, I'm also a adoptive parent and foster carer. So anything that I can learn about making people's lives happier, healthier and calmer is of massive interest to me, but also my own, journey with that, because I need to be happier, healthier and calmer to be able to be an amazing mum, an amazing foster carer and an amazing health practitioner to all of the people that I come across. So yeah, that's why I wanted to know more about it. So like you say, just about a year ago, we were involved in a great big kind of day event where we went along. And from there, I was inspired because I work with children and I write children's stories. I wrote a little book, which I'm going to be reading to you later on. Yeah, that's kind of my journey with it. So whenever I'm with children and I'm in schools or I'm meeting them privately in my own personal life or at my retreat venue, especially if they start yawning, I like to talk to them about, oh, do you know why you do that? Why is it important? Why does it help you? And had some really fun conversations, especially with teachers.
Oh, yes, I can imagine.
We obviously believe that children are bored or not listening in class if their children are yawning. So some of the really interesting conversations started with teachers when I was in schools doing my health and wellbeing practitioner and bringing up Dreamy's great big yawn and that story, and kind of getting the conversation going in a fun way. And a little story from me about a teacher, she was like, oh wow, that's really interesting, because I was told off by my head's teacher for yawning in a staff meeting the other day. So I said to her, well, now you know the benefits of yawning and that it's actually a really positive thing. You can now go back to your boss and explain the benefits of yawning to him. So that was a really fun little moment of teaching about the great big yawn. So
and really powerful, Mandy, absolutely really powerful, because if we can encourage teachers to not give children detention for yawning, but we can re-educate and bring in actually allowing a yawning session will actually help the children be more creative and create space so that they have got the capacity to take in that new information, then what could the world be? And I think that's the exciting part about this. We are totally turning something upside down and inside out, and we don't have the answers, but we're really curious to find out what it might be. So thank you for taking this into schools. Sadie, hello.
Hi, it's lovely to be here, Rachel. Thank you so much.
Absolute joy to have you here, my darling. And you're over in the Leeds area, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I'm in Leeds today. So I couldn't get on the comments, unfortunately. So I do apologise for that. But good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everybody, wherever they are in the world today. It's really humbling and a privilege to be able to be here to celebrate the Great Big Yawn and what that means for us.
Thank you. It's a joy.
So, I mean, I first heard about you, Rachel Earing, when I met Kay's story. And I remember the morning, actually, quite specifically, we shared what it was that made us feel quite remarkable, which was a small moment for us, but it was one that was to prove to be really quite important, because it got us into conversation. And she told me about what you were doing, the work you were doing with a Great Big Yawn. And I was so inspired. Our mission, our values aligned so perfectly. and then it was such an honour to be involved as a Yawning ambassador, which has been transformative, because when we have been on our training sessions on a Wednesday evening, that's represented to me a safe space where everyone has permission to speak very boldly and very freely. And when I learned as well, because of creativity and language replacing boredom and apathy, sharing our yawns, we're sharing our emotions, we're building trust, deepening our relationships and strengthening our bonds. And I feel that together we're building a movement that empowers people to rise above silence, reclaim voices, and also create safer communities for everybody. So the impact of the Great Big Yawn was transformative for me, particularly because it gave me permission to tell my origin story as well, a journey that was shaped by surviving trafficking. I will only touch on this, but 10 years ago, I arrived in Cyprus looking for work and for somewhere to live. I didn't understand the culture of the area and the language, and I found myself in a very difficult situation, quite terrifying actually, and locked in an apartment with Cypriot and Russian traffickers. I was moved around in the dark of night, not knowing where I was, what was going to happen next. And then one night, I saw a little light. There was a man in a very small reception area, and I knew this was my opportunity to escape. And I found a way out and managed to persuade him to get me to the airport and then to safety. There was another girl, amongst many. Another girl, Oksana, was also there. She had come from Russia and also managed to escape. Instead of going to the airport, she'd gone to the police, and they did nothing. They turned her away. She was recaptured by the same traffickers and put in an apartment 5 stories high. When she tried to escape again, she died, and she was 20 years old. So when I work in Hare Hills in Leeds now, this issue is still rife. And it's hidden, and it's happening in many areas in the UK. So when I started my social enterprise Empower Her English CIC, my goal was to help prevent this exploitation, to give a voice to those who feel voiceless, and to use my lived experience to make a difference. And so through Empower Her English, I work with women in Hare Hills, and in one group alone, our collective languages include Romanian, Arabic, Tigrinya, Urdu, Punjabi, Kurdish, and Roma. That's just one group. And together, one of the things we do is learn language through creativity. We gain confidence and stand up against vulnerability. And so not knowing the language in the country you live in can make you incredibly vulnerable, especially to violence and exploitation. So I'm committed to working with our partners, yourself, to prevent violence against women, prevent exploitation, and support our health services. And the empathic response of the Great Big Yawn gave me the courage to share my message unstifled, allowing me to speak on behalf of those who can't. So thank you. And I have a poem to read later as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, honestly, I didn't know any of this, Sadie, until actually quite recently, because you've done your training, you'll be coming on to the Wednesday calls, and there's little snippets of your story that sort of came through, but nothing at all about this trafficking side that you've been talking about. So it really has proved to me that literally this drip feeding of allowing this area to soften in the safest of circumstances, and even if all we are talking about is yawning and our experiences of when we started to be stifled with a yawn, has opened up the most in-depth personal privilege. Actually, it's an absolute privilege, and you can tell now how emotional this is making me feel, and I'm sure it is you, of us all coming together with this very simple action that we have overlooked and we have underestimated, and it has been misjudged. just like every single one of us. And when we give ourselves that opportunity to one yawn at a time, one step at a time, one conversation at a time, open up into this safe space, and watching where you are now, Sadie, is with people having heard your story, and you've said this and you've talked in public now about all of this, and I know now that people are clambering to have you on a public stage, and I hope you do take this nice and gently at your pace into that next step of the arena, because I think this is going to be really huge for you. So thank you for trusting us and being with us, because these have all been really deeply unexpected delights of starting this process of the Great Big Yawn and not actually knowing where it's going to take us, but trusting the process that the right people who need this, who have been stifled, are coming forward. So thank you. Really, really powerful, Sadie, indeed. Joe Brown.
Hello. Are you all
Hello.
right?
Very well.
I'm trying to do some technical things behind the scenes, and it doesn't seem to be working very well. So yes.
Yeah, I know that feeling this afternoon.
Yeah. Is everyone okay? I'm actually at the minute up in Aberdeen. Okay. So I've been on a journey. So yeah. So I'm currently it's sunshine in here. What's it like everywhere else?
Grey.
It's sunshining. So why did I get involved as being a UK Yawning ambassador? Well, I met Rachel. I think the first time I met Rachel was 2019. We met in a networking meeting, and she was holding a book talking about a therapy which she brought out. And in 2020, when we got a lockdown, we actually met just before lockdown, didn't we, Rachel? We'd gone to an event. Rachel remembered me. I'll be honest, I'm like, oh, who are you? Because my head was completely in a different space, which it had been for a long, long time. So about a month after, Rachel approached me through Facebook, because we were all locked down in the country, and asked me would I be interested in doing an event, doing a course with her, which I did. And actually, it released me of quite a bit of rubbish what I'd been carrying for a long time. I'd had some coaching at the same time, but actually the coaching and the therapy together, I had to do 12 weeks working on myself, which I don't think anybody do. I think lockdown was good for me, I actually have to say. But what I found was that I did a lot of yawning and I did a lot of crying and everything, because it allowed me to release these things which had been locked in my body for a long time. And then I went to be a practitioner. And eventually I've started being able to help and support other people. And when I'm supporting clients now, and I've got their issues and they've been pushing it down for so long, when we start seeing them yawns, I know that we're moving something, and things are going to start changing for them. So I work in different environments, and when I see people yawning, I'm going, that's a fantastic yawn, that. You keep going with them yawns. And we talk about the yawn to people every time I'm out and about. It don't matter where I am. I could be in a shop serving customers, telling them how important it is to keep yawning. But yeah, to me, that's why I've become a yawning ambassador, because it's easy to talk to people about that's a great yawn, and ask them why, I ask them the questions and to see what they know about yawning, and just to give them that a bit of interest. But also when I see that yawn, I know they're releasing things. Yeah. So that's me. And yeah, I've supported men and I've supported ladies too, and children really. So I encourage everybody. Yeah. So that's me,
Joe. Honestly, yeah, because you really have, and I know you won't mind me mentioning this as well, but sometimes the yawn is very associated with the burp as well.
Oh, I burped.
And Joe, for many a year, has been a great burper in releasing that information. But over the past 12 months, that has softened into more of a yawn, hasn't it? So it's amazing how all these bodily actions that we that we do, once we start to understand them a little bit more, we become less afraid. And
Rachel, I've been known to have conversations with people and be burping and yawning and farting at the same time.
And I can testify to that because I've been with her when she's been doing it.
It comes out in all directions.
And you know what? This is very refreshing because the feminine side of us is often shut down from talking about this and being free with this, whereas the masculine side of us is very open to all of that. And the masculine side is very much about being very open and free with it all. So this is a huge thing for that feminine side of each of us to give ourselves permission to actually do this action and feel safe doing it. So Jo Brown, thank you very much indeed. We're going to go to Maisie, who's busy doing her eyes makeup at the moment. Maisie, how are you?
Hey, just brushing my eyelashes at the minute.
Fantastic.
Hey everyone. So my reason for joining in with a great big yawn, I was just trusting and following my intuition. And I learned massively through a personal experience that I'd been through from being in the womb of my mum and then right up until even now in my life. And yawning's just for me, and I think for everyone else as well. It's a safer and calmer way to relieve trapped and suppressed emotions. Rather than I don't know, getting angry and breaking stuff or throwing things or ripping your hair out or hurting yourself or I don't know, screaming, crying so your throat's burning, those kind of things. Yawning's just a natural kind of rhythm. It connects you to your higher self as well, and for me that was really important with the journey that I was on. Yeah, I'm holding back tears right now from where I'm at in life. I've had a lot of things going this weekend, so
yeah,
tears will probably I'll be yawning the whole way.
Yeah, Maisie is a great yawner, and I think she and I can yawn for 21 seconds at a time easily, and then the next yawn will just continue after that. So this opening of your mouth and having that jaw open, you can still do it and be polite. I'll just put your hand over your mouth.
Yeah.
And still be polite, but actually give yourself that relief of actually joining in with all of that. So, ladies, thank you so much for coming on the stage. I'm going to ask you to go back into the background, if that's okay. And we're just going to have Mandy up because Mandy is going to share with us where this creative and hopeful journey of the Great Big Yawn has actually taken her. It has allowed her to, very quickly, because she was already on this plateau of creativeness anyway. But when we said that we're changing the paradigm of boredom, apathy, and exhaustion into hope, creativity, possibility, and relief, and because of her working with children, she immediately took hold of this and she said, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a children's book. And I said, right, great, this is fantastic. But then the result of that children's book, literally, it felt like a couple of weeks later, it was done and on Amazon. So this is the speed that Mandy Worsley works at, and she's a real incredible force. And she's involved in a lot of local groups in the area of Bolton and Bury and northwest really of Manchester, aren't you, Mandy? And she's got her fingers in so many different pies, and I've had the privilege of working with Mandy on and off for the past 4 years, which is fabulous. So to have her as a Yawning ambassador is just an absolute privilege. So I'm going to hand over to you, go off the screen, Mandy, and leave you to read this wonderful book, Dreamy's Great Big Yawn.
Oh, thank you, Rachel. What a lovely introduction. So thank you so much. Yes, so for those of you that may just be joining me, I'll do a little introduction. So my name is Mandy Worsley. My overarching title is the Calm Mind Consultant. My background is 34 years as a children's nurse, and I have worked with children all of my life, and that has always brought me joy and passion. I worked for 26 years in the NHS until 2016, and then I went on my own new journey to find new ways of supporting both my own mental and emotional well-being, my own physical health, and then imparting the extra new knowledge and skills that I have gained over the last 8 years to work, again, predominantly with children, but now with women, with teachers, with parents and carers across the Northwest, across the UK, and across the world. And one of the new and creative talents that I wasn't aware that I had was to write kind of poems that were turned into short stories. And in my other job, I've written, between myself and another colleague, around 16 children's storybooks. And they're all called mini mindful moments. But this one I wrote for Rachel, as she says, when I get the inspiration, it just kind of flows naturally and doesn't take me long to do it. And then I have other creative people around me that turn it into beautifully illustrated storybooks. So I'm going to introduce you to this beautiful, beautiful egg here. So this beautiful dinosaur. And inside here we have Dreamy. So he is our special dinosaur who we are going to be hearing all about today. So he's really, really soft and cuddly and calm. So again, just having things that are tactile and soft and being able to stroke and cuddle them really does bring a sense of calm and peace to our lives. And when we mix that with the yawn, it is a really, really powerful thing. So I'm going to sit him. Can we sit him there? Is he going to join in with us? There we go. So, and I am going to read the story to you. So it says, one day there was a beautiful egg, so green, the most beautiful, amazing colour you have ever seen. All curled up tight and warm in a cosy ball, there was a dinosaur, so perfect and small. But on the egg, as he opened and stretched up, we could see that he wasn't so small after all. As soon as the egg opened and he stretched up tall, we could see he wasn't that small after all. Out he came with his jaw open wide, with a great big yawn that started inside. But it quickly spread to every part, relaxing his body and slowing down his heart. So if you're watching and reading with me right now, I'd love you to do that. So let's put our hand on our heart and we're going to take in a really slow, deep breath, breathing in through our nose, blowing out through our mouth. Just like Dreamy, breathing in through our nose, out through our mouth. And if you feel a yawn coming on, just let it go. Let it open, let it spread all the way through every part of your body. The yawn was a magical thing to see. And as it helped him to feel calm as can be. And everyone around him who saw this sight also began to yawn with all their might, because we know that yawns are contagious. The yawning spread like a wave round the world that gave the little dinosaur so much self-worth as it spread so contagiously all round the earth. The more that he yawned, the happier he became. They all loved this new yawning game. Dreamy and his friends were having so much fun sharing the yawn every day. So every day it became a new thing to share that yawn and make his heart sing. Sharing with his friends, with his family too, because yawning is such an easy thing to do. We can all yawn to make ourselves feel great. So now have a go yourself. Don't leave it too late. Open wide. Don't keep it inside. Share every yawn with love and with pride. Dreamy the dinosaur had a wonderful idea. Let's make a National Yawning Day of the year. The date was born. What a great date. The 10th of November seemed just great. So National Yawning Day has been born to share the power of the great big yawn. And don't just yawn on that special date today. Do it daily so that you feel great. The end. So thank you so much for listening to Dreamy's Great Big Yawn. He wants to say thank you, and he hopes that you may join him in a few yawns every single day. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm relaxed already now, Mandy. That was so relaxing and so beautiful. You have the opportunity, everybody, to purchase Dreamy's Great Big Yawn. I'm sure you've been seeing below. Our website is The Great Big Yawn, and Mandy's book is under resources. So do have a look on the website, because we've got loads and loads of material for you that's free. We've got blogs. We've got music. There's so much there for you to get involved in and find out more about National Yawning Day and the Great Big Yawn. But that story, I've given that to my nephew's children, and it's so beautiful to see them with the book and joining in and yawning and have the photographs of the babies yawning. It's absolutely joyous. It really is. So, Mandy, I think that's going to be a huge success for the Great Big Yawn.
Absolutely.
Moving forward, it's deeply relaxing.
Our idea is that the schools may want to purchase them along with the little kind of dinosaurs as a little pack, mightn't they, to support the work of the Great Big Yawn, but then obviously to spread this, fun and easy daily activity with young people, with children, making it normal, making it accessible, making it fun, and making people know that it's okay to yawn and what the benefits are behind it. And again, I think from sharing that story in schools with children and teachers over the past year, as you say, it just sparks conversation, doesn't it then? And that leads then on to other things. That leads on to really important conversations about their health, their well-being, things that they may have be struggling with in their life. And again, we know the world, there's lots going on in the world. Lots of children and families I work with, we can't always change their reality, but we can help and support them to have tools and techniques to be able to support themselves every day. And what could be easier than the yawn? It doesn't, it's within them, but it's just harnessing that power, and just by giving them a little bit of knowledge and understanding about, actually, this is a good thing for me. It's helping me, relaxing into it and allowing it to come, as opposed to, as you say, kind of hiding it, stifling it, thinking that they're, showing boredom or, being called out in a negative manner. So changing that narrative to a positive narrative around yawning.
Oh, it's huge, Mandy. Thank you so much. And the joy of working with young children, I can only imagine the fun that you're having and the giggles as they are yawning and giggling, and every other whole discussion going on about, there's just so much fun if we lighten up about what this excretion of old information is actually just doing. It's just old information coming out so that we've got some space inside us. And if we simplify all our conversations to this level and try not to make too big a deal. And I'm not saying that excessive yawning isn't a great big deal, because it is connected to a lot of really big health issues, which I'll come to later. But for those people who are, just like you and me, who are just able to incorporate this very simple action into their daily life, it's not a big ask, is it?
Not at all. And that's why I loved it, because for me, it was an absolute no-brainer when we talked about it, because we can do it. I do it every day. Everyone does it. We can then incorporate it and share it. It's such a simple action to share. It doesn't cost people time or money, you know, and like you say, it's universal. It crosses nations, it crosses age groups, you know, everybody, like you say, from the womb to our cradle to grave. Something we all do, and we can then harness that power, and we can reach. But as you say, what I like is we can have fun with it as well, because again, we know that laughter and having fun, you know, sears those memories on our brain and brings back those positive, memories, which then release positive chemicals and endorphins in our body. So therefore, it has a knock-on positive effect as well, doesn't it, to, you know, improve health and well-being in so many other ways.
Oh, it really does. Thank you so much, Mandy Worsley, for joining us today. And it's so beautiful to have other people talking about the yawn rather than just myself, because sometimes you go on this journey and, you know, I know I'm very enthusiastic about this and passionate about it, but because it's so new, until I get together with the Yawning ambassadors who are as passionate as I am, you can sometimes feel a little bit lonely as well. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that loneliness. And so let's use the yawn and be contagious together, knowing that every time we do yawn, the whole world is yawning with you, and they're relieving themselves of some tension and stress if they tune in to do that, because our thought process along with the yawn is what's the most important aspect of giving ourselves that stress-free yawn instead of the exasperated yawn. So Mandy, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you for the Yawnathon at 4 p.m. if that's okay.
Thank you. Bye now.
Thank you very much. Take care. Okay, everybody. So we are going to crack on now with bringing Sadie James back onto the stage. And for those of you who are, it's a bit of a sensitive topic. And we did touch on it before a little bit earlier than I was anticipating. So just know that the Great Big Yawn is very light-hearted. We have a lot of beautiful, light-hearted conversations about it. But actually, the journey of the yawn takes us to very deep, powerful, exposed, vulnerable places within ourselves. And therefore, the content that you might be hearing on here might be triggering for some people. So please just give yourself the opportunity to go and have a yawn somewhere else and have a little break and release those yawns as you are listening to this conversation as we move forward. So I'm going to bring Sadie back onto the stage. Hey, Sadie.
Hi, Rachel. And yes, I should have said to give some warning. I do apologise. So hopefully the poem will soften that a little bit as well that I've put together.
Thank you. Yeah, beautiful. Just for those people who are just jumping on, just give them a little. There's no little easing into this really. It's really big stuff. But you're one of our Yawning ambassadors. You came on board because you were feeling stifled, and we didn't fully understand, because we were talking about yawning and nothing else, what the story was behind that. But it's a very deep and powerful story. And as the months have gone on, you've felt more confident to express yourself publicly, and as well as obviously within our group, as to your circumstances. So it's up to you now whether you want to lead with the poem and then go into a little bit about yourself, or again, just give us a brief introduction as to where you've been and how it's brought you to this beautiful poetry that you're now writing, actually, that creative possible life that you've got.
Thank you, Rachel. So for so long, I just felt like I wasn't able to speak out about I'll just circle back, because when we were talking about old information, the things that we learned, the things that we were supposed to do and the way we were supposed to behave, I started feeling that that the things I was taught, we were sweeping things under the carpet all the time and unable to be honest about things. And what I thought was that all of a sudden, the things that we were sweeping under the carpet, we couldn't cover under the carpet for that much longer. So I decided to change the people I was with, And I started going to networking events, meeting people like Kay, finding out new information. And just recently, it's funny because I was at a seminar with David Priestley as well, and he said everything you've learnt to date is almost his baggage, because if you want to succeed today, forget everything you learnt. I was born in 1980. Forget everything you learnt back then. You're going to have to relearn everything. So I've started to try and do that, and to be able to express myself that bit more creatively, to forget the social norms that kept me suppressed, that kept my emotions suppressed, that kept me silent, to kept me from keeping me from speaking the truth and being able to be honest. Because when I wasn't honest, what happened was so destructive. So I'll just start by saying this poem.
I'll come off the screen. I'll leave you to this.
So this is a yawn to break the silence. A yawn, just a breath small and wide, a ripple of change we no longer hide. Starts as a hush, soon breaks like dawn, and this is the heart of the great big yawn. Together we gather, unguarded and free, a language of yawns where all can just be. For words that were silenced, stifled by fear, are freed with each yawn as we hold them near. In her hills and leads, where secrets lie deep, we teach the words that let courage leap. From Romanian whispers to Kurdish song, we learn to be bold and we learn to be strong. Once voiceless, now speaking, not lost or alone, we yawn for each story, make each language known. Tapestry woven, each voice a thread, in a world where silence no longer spreads. Empower her English to share and to speak, for those unheard, for the lost or the weak. With words we reclaim, with yawns we unite, building communities that rise to the light. Together we yawn for the brave and the gone, for those who are here and those who move on. A yawn that transforms, ignites and creates, a world where each voice can challenge its fate. So let us all take part in this great big yawn. Let us breathe life into voices that were silenced, embrace stories that were hidden, and create communities built on trust and courage. Stand with us in lifting up those who are unheard, support Empower Her English, support the great big yawn, and support each other. Together, let's build a world where no one's voice is left stifled or forgotten, because when we yawn, we make room for change. Let's yawn boldly, let's yawn together, and let's keep this movement alive. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Gosh, you know what, Freddie? I never really envisaged this when I started the Great Big Yawn. I know I said creativity and hope and possibility, but I've been really moved and humbled, which again reminds me of the yawn. It's a very humbling movement by everyone who's getting involved, and the depth, like I said, of what you're sharing. So thank you for bringing yourself to the Great Big Yawn and allowing yourself to get involved and unfold so gracefully, so beautifully for us all to witness, because it's really powerful.
Thank you. And I hope by sharing the message, I know when I've connected with other people and been able to share my story, it's allowed them to be able to speak up and share their story. And when we talk about loneliness and isolation and replacing that with connection, replacing that with safety, and replacing that with support and hope and belonging, warmth, you know, this is the start of something. And I'm so pleased to be able to say that because I've learned from yourself and from the training sessions that we have on a Wednesday, that what we've been able to create in Hare Hills, when we receive testimonials saying that, you know, they've not, the women that join haven't found a group like this before because they are received with such warmth and belonging that they've not seen elsewhere before. So it's very important. It's been so important to me to firstly to meet Kay, to hear about what you've been doing, to meet Maisie, and to meet everybody that's been involved in the Great Big Yawn. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you. Really, really powerful, Sadie, and all the very best with Empower Her English, which I'm hoping to come over next week and spend some time with you all, because it's really, really powerful, the work that you're doing. And of course, you talked about all the languages that everybody speaks, and we have a project that is coming up where we are, the yawn itself, if you don't mind just staying on just for a moment, the yawn itself, we discovered, uses exactly the same muscles for singing and voice coaches as the yawn. And when people go with voice strain for singing and voice coaching, they are often taught to yawn and relax their jaw, which we're going to be doing at 4 o'clock. For those of you who want to join the Yawnathon at 4 p.m, you're going to be able to get involved for 15 minutes of yawning and Yawnathon activity to see if we can make this wonderful machine here that I've got, I'll talk about in a moment, respond. So this action is so deeply powerful, and the end result is being able to sing openly, is being able to express ourselves so vocally with joy and passion and involvement with others. And of course, the project that we have for 2025 is a sing-a-thon, where we are inviting people to come and get involved, and we're going to have a yawning song. In fact, we've got a few yawning songs that you can choose from, and we're going to have a yawnathon and a sing-a-thon, and it's going to be sung in at least 3 languages. Now, I've already been asked, because of the connection that we're making, if we can do it in 12 other languages. So folks, I'm going to need some help on this. Lots of help. So if you want to come and get involved in helping us put this together, please do get in touch, because we're going to be starting. I will be starting in Bury, but obviously we've got Leeds in the UK, and we've got our Uganda and Ghana yawning ambassadors that we've not even touched on yet, who, because we're going global, we've got a global community already involved. So I can imagine your poem actually being put into a song, Sadie. So I'd like you to think about that. And as you're having your conversations, it might be that the community that you're in, you might have some musicians who may be able to put their own yawning songs together, which, again, as we know, softens the conversation. It's neutral conversation, but it's also giving them something to do that's creatively involving themselves in their local community. So that'll be really interesting to see what happens with Empower Her English with the Songathon. So we look forward to that.
Thank you. That would be amazing, because it's for some of the ladies who are just starting to learn English for the first time. That's what we were doing in our last session, learning the words for singing and yawning, because
fantastic. It
yeah.
releases it all. That's wonderful. Exactly. Sadie, thank you so much. We'll see you at 4 o'clock.
Thank you for having me, Rachel.
Take care. Bye-bye now. So everybody, let us know how you are enjoying our conversations and stories and poems so far for National Yawning Day. I'm having a really beautiful time, and I'm full of real deep gratitude for us all coming together on this special day, because it's deep. It's not just surface stuff that we're talking about the yawn, and we can and will talk about the yawn on a surface level of why it's fun and beautiful to allow this bottom jaw to just start to relax down. There are so many benefits, which we do educate people on as you take our Great Big Yawn certification, which is coming up, where personally I feel our Great Big Yawn certification is just as important as the mental health first aid certificate. And that's a really bold claim. But actually, the certification that we give for the Great Big Yawn and the education that we give it, we're actually giving you something to do. We're giving you a relief mechanism that you are beginning to understand why you do it, how you can do it, in what circumstances it's okay, and the education of where it came from, which was, did you know that the very first time you started to yawn was in the womb. So the yawn came before the breath. I'm going to repeat that. The yawn came before the breath. So what's really interesting, and science cannot answer this question as yet, is why we yawn. Why we yawn, how we started with the yawn. We started with a yawn from anything from 12 to 24 weeks in the womb. And we know that because there are many images now and scans that show the baby's yawning. Now, the biggest thing for me as I've gone on this journey is, well, if we're not taught how to yawn because we do it in the womb, why are we taught how to stifle our yawns? Because babies yawn up to 25 times a day when they come out of the womb. Up to 25 times a day. Now, I can relate to that. I'm a good 25 a day yawner. And it feels fantastic. But it also feels to me, as I'm doing that now very consciously as to why I'm yawning, what emotion it's connected to, what door I'm walking out of and circumstance I'm going into, am I able to yawn out what I've been dealing with in this room? And as I walk into the next part of my life, can I take my body with my mind at that speed? And that's what it feels like I am doing. It feels like I am taking my body at the speed of my thoughts with every yawn that I release. And I will come again a little bit later as to why I actually believe that is to be happening with the way that I now, as part of the ICU Academy, teach children to read blindfolded. So they are looking at a book with a blindfold on and they're telling me what is on that page accurately. Now, as they start to do that, their mouths will start to move. And as their mouths start to move, I can see that basically is that yawn starting to come to the surface. And that yawn is actually helping to cool down their system, their mind, their head, because their eyes are watering, their head's a bit itchy with the heat, and their body. And it's helping to cool down their system so that they can give me that information very, very accurately. So to me, it was like, gosh, they are making new neural pathways at the speed that they're able to compute this information. And that yawn is just helping that process. So if the yawn is connected to inflammation and cooling our body, and what if, okay, they say that we are, as soon as we come out of the womb, we are overheating, we are cooking from the inside out. So every yawn that we do is helping to cool down inflammation inside our body. Now, to me, that feels really, really powerful indeed. Okay, so we are now going to bring up, who have we got now to come up on the stage? It would be Maisie, but Maisie's not there at the moment. She's disappeared. So I'm going to bring up, if that's okay, Jo and Louise. Hello, Louise. Thank you for joining us. It's lovely to see you. So, Jo, welcome back.
Hello. Are you all right?
Good to have you here, my darling. It really is. So you've been using the yawn, as we know, for quite a while. Or let's talk about the real case for you, which is more the burping situation and yawning quite recently.
Yeah.
So how have you managed to explain this effectively to people?
I explained that when when burping, I'm obviously clearing something, and I am not sure. Usually, I'm not sure what I am actually clearing. So it's about, but I feel release when I've done it, if that makes sense. So I just said to her, excuse me, but I've obviously got something that I need to clear, which makes me feel a lot better and a lot more in control of my emotions. So I don't actually cry as much, if that makes sense. Even though there's nothing wrong with crying. Yeah, I just prefer to burp, I think. And it's just because you can laugh about it. Does that make sense? People actually, when you burp, people just like laugh because they just don't know, because they're not used to it, if that makes sense. They're just, we're made to that it's rude and everything, so they just don't know what to say when I just burp.
Yeah. It's really potent conversations really that we're having. And I know, like we've been talking about, it's, you know, people have been yawning so much whilst listening today as well. Just the conversation of the yawning itself is actually helping to stimulate that. And even a cough, you know, the cough, the yawn, anything that is actually shifting that stuck energy inside you. Gosh, we're therapists. We deal with mental health and emotional issues all the time. And this is us speeding up the process, because the end result is always somebody excreting that old information through a yawn, a burp, running to the toilet, sweating, cold, all of the detox type symptoms. But because we're actually speeding up the process of, we could actually be putting ourselves out of a job in a way here, of saying, look, what if most people don't need that mental health therapy right now? They can relieve themselves very, very quickly by utilizing their body's actions in the right way. And if they give themselves permission to do that, what might happen? And the honest answer is we don't actually know. But actually, we are collecting information through the Great Big Yawn with our survey, with more surveys to come, and this beautiful machine here called the Weirdoscope, which is collecting random data from this room to see that if we are talking about yawning, does it have an effect on the information that is coming back to this random event generator.
Sorry, Rachel. Sometimes when I yawn, it can actually turn into a cough and a choking. So I can go from yawning to literally coughing and choking, and you have to sort of say, please don't worry, I'm fine. Do you know what I mean? It's just, I'm not going to choke. I'm just clearing something. Yeah. Again, you know, because people feel uncomfortable with it, if that makes sense, but it's just learning. And I think because they get used to me doing it, it makes them feel a little bit easier with it, if that makes sense, when it starts happening to them.
Yeah, and that's a really, really powerful comment, because giving yourself permission to actually allow your body to have these sensations is something that we've pushed back down for so long. We don't realize how abnormal and how much energy, just have a think about this, does it take for you to push back down a yawn, to push back down a burp, to hold in, you know, the other end. And we understand, you know, it's not always a done thing for us to be able to allow all that out at once, because it can be awkward in a social situation where there are a lot of people, and we consider it embarrassing and sometimes a little bit smelly if it's the other end. So allowing ourselves the opportunity to go somewhere and do that with ease and not be embarrassed in our own mind, in our own body, not necessarily out there in company, but actually giving ourselves permission to think it's okay. I'm just going to let this come out in the best, safest way possible for me, and put myself into that safe situation so that it's okay for me to do that, and see what happens. And if that's okay, I wonder if it's okay for me to do that again. And if that's okay for me to do that again, I wonder if it's okay if I keep allowing that to happen, to see what happens, if that's speeding up my thoughts and my body going along with me on this journey, so I don't feel like I'm leaving me behind. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, Jo, thank you so much for coming on. We're going to have a little break and listen to some music now. And we're going to have a listen to, so we'll see you a little bit later, Jo, for the Yawnathon, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And we're going to bring Kay up. Kay, are you free to come up for a few moments?
I sure am.
That's great. Okay, so Kay, I am going to try again to get the survey up. I'm struggling with. I don't know how to do that, so I think I might have to load it up. So if you want, you can play the music for, or I can play the music.
I don't know. I'm going to say I think you've got the link.
Oh, right. Yes, this is the link one, so I might have to do this. So what we're going to do, we have a... We have
a quick reminder, and it has done it on one of my messages. So I'm not being rude, guys. I'm looking in the background on 4 different platforms, checking messages. So that's why I've got my phone in my hand. But please can I just remind people watching to give StreamYard permission, because some of the chats are coming up as Facebook user, and it'd be really lovely to see who's with us making comments. So just in case you see a comment of yours, maybe put your name on if you've not already clicked the link.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay, so I thought I'd added this video clip of Peter, but I've not. So I'm going to try and present this now with the share screen. Present. Are you able to do this, Kay? It's flicking off my share screen button.
Not without having the link loaded to share it.
Share audio.
I'm just looking at some, while Rachel's just doing that, I'm just looking through some of the comments. And one thing that's really interesting, somebody's put on their Facebook user, "Oh, I love a yawn." I think everybody does, because it does make you feel good, and it's instant, isn't it? So everybody, it's very relatable, and everybody. Oh, are we on?
Oh, sorry. Okay, just a second. We're going to play this.
Good.
Life is a learning curve, and there's always something new. Sometimes we understand it, other times we haven't got a clue. Some things play on our mind to the point of desperation. Yet there's always something to pull us back and curb life's frustration. There are so many things out there to help our well-being. And maybe there's something that we are not yet seeing. Some things must never stop until the new age dawn. Maybe we need to look at the science of a yawn. It's on a training course to be a better person. But as they rambled on and on and on, things started to worsen. This is the cure for insomnia, which left me for long. So I threw in the towel and gave out a great big yawn. Everyone looked at me, my face went bright red. Someone cracked a joke saying they think I can't eat bed. Something strange happened against my mentor's brain. The cloud was suddenly lifted and I had great relief. Since my indiscretion, my life was rearranged. My quarter quickly passed away, my thoughts completely changed. I no longer live my life being so withdrawn. Who cares what people think? Just do a great big yawn. So don't stifle that yawn, there are benefits to be had. Just let it all out, I'm sure that you'll be glad. A new world awaits you, you'll be glad that you were born. Enjoying life life to the full with that great big yawn. Enjoying life to the full with that great big yawn.
Well, oh, I just love that. It's just now. How do I take that off? Present, stop screen. There we go. Done it. Hey, we're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, so welcome back, everybody. We do hope that you enjoyed Peter's Don't Stifle Your Yawn song. So this is where the creativity of what people are offering is, like I said, it is really, really blowing my mind, and it is so much fun. So you are going to be able to join in. You can learn the songs. We can start singing them together, and we'll be doing that from next year because we're going to be doing lots of beautiful workshops. So what this is opening up and giving you an insight into is our yawning ambassadors now are so on fire, literally, with being these creative geniuses of having fun with us, that it now means that those of you who want to come on and get your TGBY certification or become a yawning ambassador, you've now got the material to show people and play with and have fun with and be creative with in your own workshops that you're going to run for us. So to come and be able to represent us is where we're going to have a lot of fun together, because these workshops are where you eventually going to be able to earn some money as one of our representatives. And that social, sorry, my little doggy's joining in the background. So we're just going to have so much fun together moving forward. And this is only the start of the creativeness that is happening, isn't it, Kay? Because I know Kay, now bringing Kay in here, Kay, for next year. It might be at the start of next year, but we've already started rebranding the Great Big Yawn, haven't we? Because we're so diverse already. This little image here, obviously, is me. It started off as Rachel's Great Big Yawn, and a beautiful lady called Hope did this wonderful imagery for us, and she did it based on myself. But of course, the Great Big Yawn now doesn't just represent Rachel's Great Big Yawn. It's all of us. It's all of us, every single one of us. So Kay has already started to rebrand, and I'm really excited about what she's put together. And a lot of our yawning ambassadors have seen what is going to be happening. Now, we're not going to show you today because we're going to do this as a separate launch, aren't we, Kay?
Yeah.
But it also means that because of the conversations that I'm now having with businesses and charities and community groups, it's becoming very apparent that actually, you know, many of you have got smoking areas for your staff to go and have breaks. And we feel it's very important for there to be total inclusivity and have yawning breaks. So people are going to need somewhere to go for these yawning breaks. But this room is going to be totally unique in that it's not just for boredom, apathy and exhaustion, it's also for hope, creativity and possibility, all in that same room. So there's no mental health stigma of anybody going into that room thinking that they're going because they're not feeling great. It could also because they need to, you know, stimulate their creative juices going and go and have a space to just bounce ideas off somebody. It's also going to help somebody come out of that boredom and apathy and exhaustion very, very quickly, we hope. And maybe not so quickly, but also to be able to sit and have some compassion for each other about where you're all at. But there's no stigma because the yawn isn't attached to anything else of people going into that space at all. It is an expansive and contracting space that is just literally going to be that great big yawn of expansion into creativity and contracting back into yourself to allow yourself to go back out into the work that you need to do. So, Kay, you've got loads of ideas, haven't you, of how this is going to work?
I have got loads of ideas, but I think what's really important to touch on what you just mentioned there, obviously my business is creative and working with people in a creative capacity, but one thing that is key to stimulate your creativity is to change your environment. It's to physically move your energy, and there's different ways that you can do that. So, you know, we've been talking to, you know, corporate businesses here as well, but it's about that space where you might not want to just stand up and start moving your hips, because actually moving your hips is a good way to get your energy moving and your creative energy flowing. So it's that space where it's a lovely environment to be in, and this is not about, like you say, there's no stigma to this, but it's what we all need to do to regulate during our day. And actually by doing this, it increases productivity by getting, you know, so people will be very familiar with saying, you know, get up from your desk, and after so long, I can't remember what it is, it's not that long, it's like every hour and a half or something, like move, you know, take your lunch breaks, get out, you know. But especially when you're working on big projects, or if you're working on something that's taxing, to have that space that you can go on into and freely, like, just get your energy back up, people get more, you know, more input from the staff. You'll get more out of your work. You'll feel fresher just mixing things up a little bit. So these spaces are really important for lots of reasons. And if you can go in there and do a yawn and get your hips wiggling, and that environment is actually creative to stimulate your brain again, I think everybody will benefit from that, and especially the owners of these businesses, because why would you not want your staff firing on full cylinders? You know, if you start to stagnate during the day, if you're working on something heavy, if you're just feeling a little bit stuck, to be able to just go somewhere and very quickly turn that around into then being inspired more. What a fantastic use of space. Got a lot of interest in this, haven't we? And yeah, so we've been talking about how we could do that. So what does that look like visually? And that could be something from creating maybe a wall, so almost like a mural, really, that's really inspiring, that draws people in, and putting things inside that room that people can look at to feel inspired. Maybe it's picking something up physically, like you say, maybe there's music playing, maybe you just need that movement, that expression, and that can be anything. Maybe it's somewhere where they can just write, you know, maybe there's like a desk where it's a little piece of creating writing. Maybe there's prompt cards that we create where we can say, right, just pick a card. So maybe it's like a deck, so we shuffle the deck and it gives you a task to do, and it's a task that you have to do in under 3 minutes, but actually it switches your train of thought. And if it's something that's fun and creative, what if that's to wiggle, put up, you know, if we had, like, say, a radio in there, put the radio on and just dance for a minute and then get away from your desk. It's amazing, isn't it? I've done a lot of around breath work, and actually
we're gonna have an awful lot of fun, I think, with this, Kate. An awful lot of fun.
Oh, 100%. And there's so much interest so far from the people you've been going out speaking to, and I think, you know, employers are more aware about their health, you know, their well-being, and putting staff first, which is just these little areas, these breakout rooms with breakout activities in, and, you know, yeah, I just think it's.
And it all stems literally from that yawn, from needing that space of, you know, thinking literally of when we sit and we're listening to someone at the front of the room talking for however long that might be. And so many of you will have got up and walked away from this, and you become, you know, coming back to it, and might be on in the background and you'll be listening. And, you know, so people are moving around as they're listening to this right now, because people need to move. And those of us who are neurodiverse, oh my goodness, we really need to shift and move. But what happened when we were in the womb? We weren't able to go, hey, Mum, I'm going to go to the gym and work off what I need to do. I'll be back in half an hour. You know, you got this tiny little space to literally evolve and grow from. But the amount of growth that is happening in that womb from conception to coming out is massive. What has happened in that 9 months to us is absolutely huge. And that one action of yawning stimulates all of our body to allow the lymphatic system, to allow the muscles, to allow the blood supply, the nervous system, to allow everything to grow and expand in that tiny little space. And yet, as businesses, we expect people to stand still, sit still in these confined areas and in school and not move and just get the work done. But actually, the yawn is a huge part of being in that tiny, small space, but still being able to stimulate so much activity within your body that you can continue to do the tasks that you need to do. But there are going to be occasions where people need to move out of that space, the break times, to go to these more stimulating areas and yawn it out, talk about it. But that area would literally be the yawning space, where they don't bring any other conversation in other than the yawn and what expansion that they need to do that. And it's amazing when you take it all away from you and you talk about yawning, what newness, what freshness, what creativity comes from that space. So thank you very much indeed, Kay. We're looking forward to that. I am struggling to get the, oh no, because we can now. I know how to do it, don't I? I know how to do it now. I'm not struggling. I have done this. Share screen. Okay, share screen.
Well, there's one thing, Rachel, we're going to be able to offer the Great Big Yawn technical support service.
Tell you what, something we go along, and that's the honest answer is you don't have to know everything to give it a go. Yeah, because if I thought, I need to know exactly how all this works before I come on here and do this with you, and I learned as much as I could before I came on here with you, this bit's new, it would never get anything done, and the whole purpose of the Great Big Yawn is how do we keep moving forward to get things done with the tiny, simplest actions. Well, we come together and we share and we get each other through it and yawn into every single stage. Right, okay, let's share this. Okay, we've got the survey, everybody. Can you see it? Yes, let me...
Can you zoom in, Rachel?
I don't know how to do that.
Can you make it the main screen? So we
It is the main screen there.
Oh, no. I think you can do the one...
Exit full screen. I don't know. Stop sharing.
Just look at your shares.
Where are you?
So look at what I'm looking at on screen. There's two little people and then a slide. But I think you can want to just slide on the next one to the right or the two to the right.
All right. If I take us off, I'll take you up. No.
Then take you. I think you can just show your slide.
Can you hear the audio though? Can you hear me? If I come off, I don't think you can hear the audio. It takes the audio with it. Oh, hang on. What's this?
Oh, that's bigger. That's it.
There we go. Can you still hear me? Just let me know in the comments, everyone, that you can still hear me. Because if you can, then we're working. I don't seem to be able to make this any bigger, I don't think.
You'd have to zoom in on your actual form, just your view on screen.
Where do I do that?
Not inside it, on the actual form that you're looking at, the screen you're sharing. Go on to your actual...
I don't know how I do that. I don't know how to increase that. Anyway, I will talk through it. So the questionnaire states, how many times do you find yourself yawning throughout the day? And we've got everybody yawns, basically. Everyone is saying that they yawn throughout the day. So that's like, there's only 12.5 people that yawn maybe 0 to once a day. So that's 97, let's call it. 97% of people are yawning throughout the day, which is quite a considerable amount of people. And the amount of people that stifle their yawns is 80, well, it's 94% actually. Sorry, that's never. So we've got 13% of people that never stifle the yawns. Some people are not sure, and I can't see the percentage on that. So let me have a look over here. There's no percentage on that even. Okay. Oh, how do I have to move that up here? So where are we up to? What can you see now, Kay?
2 screens, and I might be able to read it myself if I zoom in. Just a second.
Well, if I stay on this screen, I can read this as long as you can hear me. So
Yes.
what time of day do you typically experience the most frequent yawning? So we've had a couple more responses. This is 72 responses, and basically there's only 11% that say that they're not sure, but everybody else is yawning morning, afternoon, evening, or all of the above. So evening seems to be the most popular at 30%. Some people are just not sure, but everyone seems to be yawning. Okay, so it is something that we all do and we all have in common and brings immediate rapport when we talk about it. Now, we had several wordings on this to make sure that people did answer the right question for them. I stifle my yawns because it's not polite to yawn in front of others, 31%. It feels rude to yawn in front of others, 40%. People may think I find them boring, 42%. My teacher boss will be upset if I yawn in front of them, 1%. All of the above, 10%. So basically, we've got nearly 90% of people saying they stifle their yawns because it's impolite or that it feels rude. So they are stifling down their emotions. All of that energy is being pushed back down into their body and being stuck in certain places because somebody else at the front of the room might think that they are rude. Now, if you think of how many people that one person might be talking to, that's an awful lot of energy being shoved back down and restrained. So what might happen to that room full of people if they allowed that yawn out and allowed themselves to have the space inside them? Now, we know that when you feel that you have space inside you, you feel a little bit more relief and creative. So how do people know that they've completed a yawn? Because it makes my eyes water, 11%. My mouth has opened as wide as possible, 22%. I've got a satisfying sense of relief, that's 48%. Or all of the above, 29%. I know I have not completed a yawn because my jaw hasn't opened up fully enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring some of our yawning ambassadors up on stage, if that's okay, to talk about the findings of this, because I think it's going to be quite interesting to see what they have to say. So we're going to bring Maisie up and Joe Brown. And if Louise is around, Louise, you can come up and join in this conversation if you want. And Mandy and Sadie, when they're ready, they can come and join in. So I know you can't really see what's happening there. So I might. Do you want this survey up on screen, or do you just want to talk about it and I'll read out what's on? Ladies.
Easy. Well, let's. Well, they've just had it explained, haven't they? So we can talk. You talk about it. You do the question, and then we'll talk about it and discuss it. Yeah.
Okay. So I know I've not completed a yawn because my jaw hasn't opened up fully enough. It feels stuck, or I've stifled it back down, or all of the above. So how does it feel for you, ladies, when we say our jaw hasn't opened up fully enough, what does that actually mean for you? What does that mean?
Sometimes my jaw will click and start cracking. That happens. That when we was doing that EFT course, at the very start, like my body wouldn't actually yawn for a little while because it was building up like that. It's like building a muscle. So mine was building up, and then the cracking and everything was like happening. Whereas now that doesn't actually happen because I'm in a much healthier like space in all areas of my life compared to where I was then. Yeah, and also you notice the difference in your nose and in your sinus, or your eyes, because it's all obviously connected all the way around, obviously here and here. Yeah.
So that's what you've noticed, is it then, Maisie? And that's really quite interesting, because I know a lot of people have said to me that they're frightened of yawning because their jaw cracks and they think they might get lockjaw.
Yeah, that used to happen to me. That it's a good thing. And also you notice an improvement in your actual hearing. My hearing used to be really not the greatest. And then once you allow that to happen, like the jaw cracking, and, you know, it's kind of like your nervous system's broken. You fall over, you break your leg. You've had like a life of trauma. Your nervous system's broke pretty much. You got to rebuild up that muscle or everything else that comes with that. Yeah, your senses definitely do heighten and improve.
Okay, so I just need to add now, obviously, that the Great Big Yawn is not a medical body at all. We are not giving medical advice. We are just being curious about people's personal experiences with the yawn. This is why we're asking these questions and we're doing these surveys. So it's just to give you the information for you to then choose what you want to do with that and experience with that. But keep yourself safe at all times. So, Maisie, just coming back to that, if I may, because we've had a lot of questions about the clicking jaw and feeling like people might get lockjaw. And you said you've experienced that. How did you overcome that thought process with the yawning? Because you obviously carried on yawning, because I see you yawning a lot.
It was through a lot of personal experience. That was my main one. Trusting and following my intuition. And it's the feeling afterwards. You know you're safe. Nothing bad's. Do you know what I mean? Unless your body's telling you, like, you know, this is not good, and you're getting a lot of signs not to continue, like, you know, with what the activity that you're doing. Then obviously don't. But for me, and I know like many other people who I've connected with, not even just through this group of like community of people, through other communities too, they've had similar experiences. Yeah, I'd just say just continue obviously doing it and closing it off. You're just shutting parts of your body down that are just trying to get out and trying to like emerge out of you. That's why sometimes it can come with pain. It's not always easy.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Maisie. And of course, if you are in the medical world and you want to come and join us and have give us some insights on the yawn itself from a medical perspective, then we'd love you to come and join in this discussion, because I'm sure that there will be queries and questions about this. And we're not saying that we have any answers. What we're saying is we're giving the experiences of our yawning ambassadors and people who are having their own experiences with the yawn, and we're just sharing that. So, please do come on and give us your version of events for all of this, because that would be wonderful. I'm going to see if Sadie and Mandy would like to come and join us and add to this conversation. So we're just talking through the findings of the survey, ladies. And so that one was basically about, I've not completed a yawn because it feels stuck, stifled it back down. So let's just say there's 47% of people who say they've stifled back down a yawn, or it feels stuck at 23%, or my jaw hasn't opened up fully enough at 27%. And 19% say all of the above. How much energy is it taking for you to push the yawn back down when you've done it? What does it feel like when you push the yawn back down, Mandy? Oh, I'll come to you in a minute, Sadie.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, you kind of, because a yawn is obviously a release, and it's a natural mechanism that you're not thinking about. Your body is just releasing it. But obviously, like you say, in a situation where you may feel that you have to stifle that yawn because of the social norms, you'll kind of feel that pressure in your body that as it kind of goes back down, and that can take more energy than actually releasing. So absolutely, it's much better to try and let it out than try to hold it in.
Fantastic. Thank you. Sadie, you had your hand up.
Thank you, Rachel. It's because this meant quite a lot to me, so it was quite impulsive when I wanted to answer. So I apologise for interrupting. But I remember the last time I was I really had to try and force down a yawn. And luckily I'd met you previously. So I remembered. And I believe I spoke to you about this as well, because at the time, what I'd done to have the experience for Empower Her English, I decided to take a trip to Peru to experience what it's like to join in on the classroom. So I booked myself 6 hours of Spanish schooling so that I could experience what it felt like just to learn Spanish and to try and navigate the community. So by doing that, what happened was I was in a homestay. Unfortunately, the area that I was in had a high crime area. There was no water at all. So kind of flushing the toilet, brushing your teeth, having a shower was out of the question. And so I was so exhausted. And when I was going to the school and trying to learn my Spanish for 6 hours a day, it was tiring. It was really exhausting. And to be able to kind of to feel comfortable when you didn't feel washed, when you felt when you felt that level of tiredness, and to also make sure that you're polite in the classroom, to be able to say, "Oh, excuse me, I've got to yawn, but there's a really good reason why I'm doing it."
Yeah,
that led to a conversation, not only in Spanish, in the Peruvian dialect, and then in French as well, because the other student that was sat there that time was actually an explorer, and he'd gone to the Antarctica to do some exploring. So we were able to have these conversations that reach, as far as Antarctica, which is really lovely, as far as Peru, and it's so this was this was an experience for me to be able to not stifle how I felt and to be able to share my experience, because I can imagine, and I know what's happening, is that there are going to be many people from many different parts of the world that are in the UK now and trying to learn, hear, listen and speak in another language is so exhausting. Having to translate, not only potentially in a different alphabet, different characters, right to left to right, it's the experience is exhausting. So luckily on our team we have a lady who used to work for the Romanian embassy and speaks a range of languages. And we're so grateful to have her as well, because without her being able to go seamlessly between languages, it would be almost impossible to get all those translators in the same room at the same time to be able to coordinate that sort of language. So so when it comes to expressing tiredness in the classroom, it's something I can appreciate and something I can feel for in other people as well.
Gosh, that's a massive explanation that I wasn't expecting from all of that. How that you connected so many people, which is exactly what the Great Big Yawn is all about us doing. But for you to do that in a really tiny community that just happened to have so many people around you, with all that exhaustion, what was it like when people started to yawn?
Freeing. I feel that freedom and acceptance within the way we are, the way we behave, and the way we experience the situation that we have can lead to conversation and lead to that feeling of relief that enables us to share more. So when we're in a situation, because then this is why I feel that Empower English and the Great Big Yawn working together does things so much different, so much more differently. Because in a classroom, if there is still this feeling around yawning being socially unacceptable. When you're in a classroom, you're there to listen, you're there to learn, and you're there to be taught. That's it. This is not the way the world is working at all. If you can enjoy that freedom, that expression, and that moment of relief, you can then share what is really going on for you, create those and have those conversations to enable you to say, the reason why I'm tired is because this is happening and this is happening. Because the time that we have segregated to the classroom is not what's really going on for us in education at the moment. And I know that from when my basic physiological needs were definitely not being met, so the inability to be able to sleep, the inability to be able to feel safe in the area that I was staying in at the time, and eat effectively, because that definitely wasn't happening with the scarcity of water, not being able to wash. As soon as I made some very, very basic changes, I moved to a slightly different area, very basic bed, but there was 24-hour hot and cold water running. I was able to feel safe. I was able to go out and go for a walk and find food that I could eat. And that didn't take an awful lot of money at all. That just took a few basic physiological changes. So that made the whole difference between 1 week where I was literally not able to learn anything because of the tiredness, because of feeling ill, to being able to really enjoy the experience that I had. And I can't speak Spanish fluently, but I do know an awful lot more than what I did in my first week. So the idea is to be able to understand what's happening in people's, to improve people's basic physiological needs is what we're doing with Empower English. So we don't just teach English, and we don't just teach it creatively, not at all. We support people to go to the doctors. I'll walk them to the doctors myself with them, so that we can have that chance with Google Translation to make sure they get the appointments that we need. We look at emergency accommodation, we look at housing, we look at supporting people with domestic violence, healthy relationships. Whatever situation someone presents with, we will support them with, because until all those situations, those crisis situations are still prevalent, no one's going to be able to learn anything effectively. So once we are able to do that, we can start figuring out where those people are at that present time, figure out what level they're at as well. So for some ladies, they've never picked up a pen before. So it's lovely to be able to work through the alphabet together. We can go through the days of the week, the months of the year, the birthdays, and being able to say, pronounce, and spell and write our names, the streets where we live. And for other people, it's very different. We're looking at vocabulary to be to work in a laboratory. We've got such a wide range.
It's a massive range of stuff, isn't it, Sadie? And you know, the lives that you're touching, it feels a real deep honour that we've got someone like you and all our beautiful yawning ambassadors to get out the great big yawn into these vital spaces that are overlooked and underestimated, and people don't feel safe in. Because the basic needs are not being met, and when people do not feel safe, this area is very much clenched, very tight, and therefore opening that door at all, even to eat, can be a struggle at times, because it's well, it is what it is. It's difficult and very, very challenging circumstances for many. But the more we can allow this, give ourselves permission to just yawn into this and relax into this space. And we're coming up to that space now, guys. We've got 6 minutes before we get to yawnathon time. So I'm going to bring everybody up onto the stage. For those yawning ambassadors that are ready to come and join us, then please do come into the space. I am going to disappear just for a couple of moments and let you guys talk a little bit longer. I'm going to give you the next topic on the survey is, when you move your body through a yawn, how do you feel? And on the survey, it says that 53% say they are more relaxed, 52% say a sense of relief. So this is some of the same people there. 13% say happy, 19% say tired, 4% say exhausted, and some people, 20%, haven't even thought about it. So how is that making you feel when you yawn? Now, the majority of people are basically saying it's making them feel more relaxed or giving them a sense of relief. I'm going to let you talk about that while I just get myself ready behind the scenes for 4 p.m.
Shall I start with this, guys? Because I just want to point out. So I've been working for a while now doing breath work and different meditation practices. And what I found out is when I am doing any form of practice, it is like I cannot stop yawning. So I can be working along, going all day, and I take that break, that time for myself, and where we've done like some breath work in a group session, and I yawn the whole way through it. So for me, it's like it's giving yourself, giving your own body permission to get out of a stressed state. You know, it's funny, isn't it? Sometimes, you know, we've got the Christmas holidays coming up, and there's so many people that you hear of that say, I feel over Christmas because they've actually relaxed. And when I'm in one of these sessions and I am in a permission, if you like, a time to give myself that time, and I know it is, you know, for my benefit, something mentally, as soon as I know I'm in a session, it triggers the yawning and it is uncontrollable. But there's something about you giving yourself brain permission to recalibrate itself, isn't it? Does anybody else find that when they're doing any kind of practice? And it is full on eyes watering, ears crackling. And I know Rachel picked up on there one of the things, so I do feel very tired after, but in a really nice, more of a bliss state than tired, but probably because I've yawned so many times. So has anybody else got experiences in that you want to talk about, or maybe that feeling of tiredness after yawning?
Hi, Kate.
Hi.
Hi, Kate. It's so lovely to see you again. I think that the experience of yawning just shows such a natural reflex to wanting to sleep. And I always feel that you know, there are times in my life definitely where I've had 8 hours of sleep or been in bed for 8 hours, let's say that, and still woken up the next day and felt exhausted, run down, burnt out. It might be that, you know, they've had terrible night's dreams, all sorts of different things. And that is your body telling you immediately you're already in burnout, and that's too late. So the idea is when you're yawning and when you're feeling safe in that space, you have the opportunity to be able to fall asleep safely and wake up with just that bit more energy so that you can use the next day as best as you possibly can and achieve as much as you can. And I know that speaking with Maisie, I remember, you know, I remember we connected on so many levels, and it was that feeling of safety, that feeling of support, that I hope to be able to share further with other Yawning ambassadors, because to be able to bring us together and have that connection, which I know I already had with you, Kay, was a real privilege, and then to have that help, to have that support, it gives us that yawn, it gives us that safe space to sleep.
Okay, everyone, thank you so much. Perfect timing. We are now waiting for our Ugandan Yawning ambassadors and Ghana to come and join us for the Yawnathon. They were on a little bit earlier. I might need to ask, we can only fit 10 people in this space on on here. So if Karen and Louise want to come on, if you want to get on your cameras, you can come and join us as we're waiting for some of the other Yawning ambassadors to come on board. So for everybody who's come on for the Yawnathon, welcome. We are about to start having 15 minutes of yawning, and we are going to be capturing our yawning on this little machine here. I'm just going to give a brief explanation. So this machine here, which is plugged in, so I can't keep holding it up, has two what we call random event generators in it. And this has been created by an organization called Go Weird, which originated from Princeton University in the United States. And Princeton University, the Pears Lab, brought these random event generators to measure what actually happens with the environment and if our thoughts can actually affect machinery. And it turns out that, yes, we can. So the actual possibility of us being, quite intimidated by AI and everything that is going on, we are actually more powerful than we can actually begin to imagine. So if we can change the thought process of the yawn from going from boredom, apathy, and exhaustion into one of hope, creativity, possibility, and relief, literally one yawn at a time, then we are going to see affect this machine here, which is throwing out, it's got two random event generators, and it's throwing out into the air zeros and ones. Now, the possibility of us as a group bringing together any of those zeros and ones together, entangled, or separating them out of this bell-shaped curve, so bell-shaped curve, if any of those come out of that bell-shaped curve, or if these two have entangled and gone in any way on that bell-shaped curve, something very interesting is happening from a scientific perspective. So we are doing our Yawnathon to be a contagious unit, literally around the globe. And I know our yawning ambassadors in Uganda and Ghana are joining us at the same time. They're not able to get on. The reception isn't always great, unfortunately. So they're not able to always get on. If they pop on, then I'll pop them onto the screen. And we are going to start this contagious yawn of relief. We're going to keep going for 10-15 minutes to see if we can make an impact on ourselves. And we've already started, so people have already started yawning, and if you burp anything else, and it's actually giving yourself permission to just soften. So just everyone wants to go into a meditative state. Well, actually the yawn itself is a meditative state. So just for that 6 seconds or 2 seconds that you give yourself permission for that jaw to just drop, and progress into a yawn, is actually bringing relief into your system. And you can tell already that my voice is now starting to slow down and my whole system is starting to calm down. And Joe and Maisie and Sadie have been yawning very beautifully. So it's going to be interesting to see. And then I will go into giggles because for me, once the yawn has actually sort of done its job and I make some connection with it, then someone's been yawning much whilst they've been listening, which is fantastic. So these yawns start to come and we start to give ourselves permission to actually deepen into our body. And it is that deepening of allowing ourselves permission to soften inside of us. So you might actually start to feel that your neck start to soften at the back. It might be that it starts to soften down the throat, and just becoming aware of your throat and aware of your jaw And what actually happens when you bring that awareness to your jaw? And giving yourself permission, thinking of all those times where you may have been bored as a child, as a teenager, in your 20s, in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s onwards. And you think when you've had to do all that repetitiveness, you've had to do all those repetitive tasks that you don't want to do because there's something more interesting in your life that you want to do, but you actually don't know how to break the cycle. How do we actually break the cycle and give ourselves permission? How do we break the cycle and give ourselves permission? Do we need to really think about it, or do we just need to let our body take that action for us? Because it's amazing how your body actually knows what to do. Your body knows what to do. Okay. Now, believe it or not, we've already started this magical yawn of relief, and people think that needs to be a great big fanfare of we're starting the yawnathon. Well, we started when we started to yawn. The relief is already happening within us. In a really, really natural yawn. Okay. Some of you are saying it's remember that from school, trying so hard to keep your yawns in. What if you give yourself permission just right now to that little you who tried so hard to keep those yawns in because you didn't want to upset people. So you see, you're going to have all sorts of different reactions. Mine's that cough that I already get in my chest. So if you're having other reactions apart from a yawn, you might be coughing, you might be retching a little bit, there might be all sorts of things that start to happen when you get your body to tune into these stories that you're connecting to. But then if you continue that conversation with yourself and go, what happens if I turn that into a yawn? What if I give myself permission for that to actually turning into a yawn? And we don't need to be in that massive, great, big meditative state, because if we are, then we're actually not allowing the movement to actually happen that needs to move physically in our body. So this is a real movement awareness meditation of taking your body with you, on this journey, and just giving yourself permission to do that. Giving yourself permission to do that. Okay, so how is everybody feeling? How are you feeling with that, Maisie? Just bringing your yawns, because I know you're a really good yawner. Sadie's doing some really great yawns, and we congratulate each other. Take off your...
I feel like
Take
my
Let's hear the yawns. Let's
stretch.
Just talk to each other. That's it. Go on, Maisie. What's happening with yours?
Like for me, like referring back to what I was kind of saying before, how they kind of built up. So the more comfortable you kind of get with it, and things like being recreated in your mind, through your spirit, and the environment, your body will just naturally start to move and stretch. And sometimes you'll stand up and not realize you even stood up.
And it's that movement, isn't it? I mean, I've literally, with that yawn, Maisie, I don't know about you, but literally I've just felt that all the way down the right-hand side of my neck, all the way down the right side, and all the way down into the right-hand side of my back. That's how deeply I've just felt that stretchy yawn.
Yeah, like your body will just naturally just do it. Like it's kind of can't really control it. Not like you, but it just happen like a reaction.
And what's been happening with you, Sadie? Where have you felt your yawns? Let us know, everyone.
Well, do you know where I haven't felt a bit? Because the thing is, I think like feeling safe, feeling definitely so much more relaxed. And it feels like I used to do, I've done a breathing technique for some time now, where you breathe in, it's called box breathing, breathe in, hold, and breathe out. But with the yawn, it feels like it takes it to a second level. So you breathe in for that 4, hold it, and then you go to another level, and then you let it out again. So that's what it's done for me. And then also, just recently, I felt really tense around my shoulders, and it gives you that freedom to be able to move your neck. Because I spend an awful lot of time in front of the computer at the moment, typing. And it just gives you that freedom to move around there. So thank you.
Absolutely. Now, I felt like I was gurning. You know, when you do that one where you literally, your face is like stretched out. It must be great facial yoga. Stretching your face, right? And we're gurning. And it always makes me think of the gargoyles and cathedrals, because they're very much too attached about the water coming out, which is all the motion, isn't it? Now, those gargoyles to me are yawning. They're not shouting, they're not screaming, they're yawning it out, because that's and again, I felt that right in my ears, and this ear still feels like it's gone a bit deaf, actually. So I now know there's a little bit of a blockage that I've got, and my hearing feels a little bit lopsided. So when I allow my jaw to drop again, it's a bit like going on that aeroplane, isn't it? How are you all getting on with your yawns? Tell us how you're getting on. Do put your comments in, because it makes me feel like my eyes are watering now. My nose is running. I want to blow my nose, so I'm going to keep going off. So just keep talking about it while I blow my nose.
I felt one of mine really in my chest and in my back. So it had gone quite deep. And that's everything from the back of my throat, and it felt tight and hot for a second, and I felt it then drop into my chest and my back, and I kind of feel like, and this is probably where this stretch needs to come from, I feel like in between my shoulder blades I could really like try and open my back and chest up.
Oh, that's brilliant, that Kay. Yeah, just keep yawning, everyone. And Robin's got a really good one. Hello, I'm feeling this in my neck. My jaw feels looser, and even my tongue feels stretched. Eyes watering and feeling relaxed, which is fantastic. So who's that there? Who's disappeared? So I don't know if Karen and Louise want to come on screen. If you do, absolutely come on screen. Let's just keep on yawning and stretching, everybody. We are literally just we're going to bring Karen Dark on. Come on, yawn with us, Karen. She's thinking, I wasn't expecting to come on now when I'm eating. What has she done to me? I'm not going to yawn with my mouth full of food. So I feel my sinus is clearing and my nose streaming. I feel it dropping into my chest and feeling lighter. So it's not just us that are on screen who are yawning and feeling this, okay? There are so many of you. Who are watching this and joining in and feeling this right now. And this huge mammoth yawnathon that we're doing. Hey, Sue, fantastic. Nice to see you. How are you doing? Are you yawning well?
Oh, yes, my eyes are watering, and putting my head back and relaxing, and it's wonderful.
I'm yawning more now I'm on screen. I wasn't yawning so much before.
It does make a difference when you're actually sort of in the room. And
it's contagious, Karen.
Yeah, we are going to be doing this more often. We're going to be having yawning mornings for people to come on just in the morning and have 10 minutes of yawning with us just to start the day, and in the evenings. So we're going to be asking our yawning ambassadors to actually take shifts and do this so that we can really bring in all sorts of different techniques here as well. So we've got breathing techniques. Just actually bringing your arms up, allowing yourself to bring your arms all the way up, dropping that bottom jaw. Swim it out. See how much fun we are going to be having with all the noises that we're going to be making and being comfortable with it, everybody.
It'd be great to have a morning, just like you say, 15 minutes, and it's a power up and release session. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, literally just allowing that to happen. It's really powerful and it's deeply relaxing. Okay, well done, everybody. So, believe it or not, that's 15 minutes worth of yawning, and I'm sure we're going to continue actually carrying on with the effects of that as we continue with the journey. Because I don't know about you, but when I go into this yawning, I will then giggle. So I'm a yawner and a giggler. And that giggle for me is a really good indication that actually it's completed. It's done its job. I've now moved on to the next stage where I need to be to move into that area. And it might be just moving into another room. It might be taking another phone call. It might be clearing that really big emotion that I didn't want to talk about. It might be that I suddenly feel safe, just like an animal. And you think about the dogs and the cats, when they're not feeling safe, they get quite agitated. But as soon as they realize they are in a safe space, it's a safe play area, it's a safe person, they immediately yawn out their anxiety. They don't wait for yoga tonight at 6 o'clock. They immediately yawn it out. And basically that's all we are encouraging everybody to do, is don't wait for your therapy. Don't wait for your tapping session. Don't wait for your meditation. Don't wait for going swimming. Whatever it is that you're doing, give yourself permission. When we're talking about being mindful and about being present, it's about being mindful and present right now. In all your yawning glory, in all your burping glory, in all your eye-watering glory, in all your giggling glory. Because I was very aware, I don't know about you, everybody, so I'm going to press the button now for the Weirdoscope to take the recordings for that. But when most of you know me, everyone knows me who's here. We're going to bring Alan up. Alan, come up to the stage, my dear. So we're going to bring people on now as they start to come in from Uganda and Ghana. But I immediately start to go into that safe space, and then my body reacts and gives a good giggle, as if, yeah, you're safe now. This is good. You've cleared out that big emotion. You've cleared that big space. Alan, it's an absolute delight to have you here. It really is. So we've got, say hello to Alan, everybody. We're waiting for our ambassadors to join us. Oh, we can't hear you, Alan.
Hello.
Oh, there we go. That's better. Turn up the value. Oh, and look at Sadie's cat is joining in now. So she's obviously feeling the relief from everybody is Sadie's cat, and she's joining in and having some fun with us. Okay, so we have now completed the Yawnathon, and it was extremely gentle and very graceful and really just quite nice. It's not a great big thing, and this is the whole point about the great big yawn is, yeah, we can tell you that you're going to have to go into breath work, you're going to have to go into yoga, you're going to have to do some tapping, you're going to have to do all of these things, and all of that will help you. Trust me, I know, because I've been through that process, and all of that will help you. But if you are not able to do that right there and then, just giving yourself permission, as we have just done for 15 minutes, to soften and yawn and release, that is enough. Is enough of you to actually just change that perception of boredom and apathy and exhaustion into one of being safety. I am safe right now. I am safe here and valid exactly as I am right now. And that deep, beautiful space that you give yourself just to sit in that and go, and if I'm going to yawn, I'm going to yawn. And if I'm going to cry, I need to cry. And if I need to yawn and cry, and then I'm going to go and get a tissue because I'm going to need a tissue. And just giving yourself the opportunity to go and get that tissue, and that be okay too. This is a really soft process. And you can only yawn if you're feeling safe. And if you're not feeling safe right now, we hear you, we feel you, we see you, because a lot of us have been in that situation. A lot of us have been in that situation. That is why we are here together doing this very, very simple action of relieving our bodies, and then talking to you about this simple action. It may help you. We're not saying it will, but it might help you. And if it's an action that you're doing anyway, put a different spin on it and give yourself permission to complete it. And if you give yourself permission to complete it, it feels good, do it again and see what happens. And then just tell us about it. That's all we're asking. Come and tell us about your yawn. Come and share that when you've got the time, when you've got the energy, because it's interesting and we're having fun with it. And we want you to be included in our fun. So, Alan, thank you for joining us from Uganda. It's an absolute delight to have you here. Karen, thank you for joining us. I'm not quite sure where you are in the world right now. Are you in Mallorca? Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, Mallorca. Hi, Ellen.
Thank you for joining us from Mallorca. That's wonderful. And Sue, you're here with us in Bury, which is fantastic. So people are still yawning away. And I'm going to introduce Alan because we've gone a little bit out of sync from our schedule, but that doesn't matter because we're going to fit everybody in anyway. But Alan's here with us now, and it'd be really great if we can all go off screen and we'll just have Alan and I on now just to catch up, if that's okay, everyone. So just, if you know how, just remove yourselves from the link. We'll have, or I'll help you. There we go. And there we go. Alan, hello, my darling.
Oh, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. We're just going to turn you up a little bit. Can you turn your mic up a little? Is that okay? So we can hear you a little bit better. Just turn your sound up and that might help.
I've done that.
Oh, that's better. That's much better. Yeah, thank you very much, Alan. That's great. So, Alan, thank you for joining us. Now, come and tell us why did you get involved in the Great Big Yawn? Because
Yeah,
Alan,
thanks.
and I need to say first of all before we start, Alan is the Yawning ambassador in Uganda, who has literally started this wave of Yawning ambassadors coming forward in Uganda. He has been he is shouting out about the Great Big Yawn like there's no tomorrow. He is absolutely on this, and he's the biggest asset I think that we've got here. And Alan, I can't thank you enough. You are doing tremendous work for the Great Big Yawn, so thank you. Now you speak.
Yeah, so first of all, I would like to congratulate everyone who has made it to the 10th of November, where we celebrate the Yawn. And this is a big event, and I thank everyone for joining this movement as I did. So to begin with, the main reason why I joined the Great Big Yawn is because I wanted to address mental well-being issues in Uganda, as it is one of the topics that are not addressed or that are not given attention that much. Yet everything that we do, be it education, maybe like work or everything, it has to improve because of our mental well-being. So how are we addressing this? We're just doing this with a small gesture. This is a yawn, whereby people have different perspectives of the yawn. Some say when you go out there in the field, some think it is just when you're hungry, that's when you yawn. When you're tired, that's when you yawn. To some cultures, some people even stifle the yawn because they think it is not, like, it is morally not good, don't, maybe in public or anywhere. So we are here to remove the shame to the yawn. We are here to spread the word. We are here to give you a small, like, solution to your mental wellness, which is just something you move with, which is something you're not going to invest in money, which is just something you have naturally. So uh, I'm so happy, and we are going to carry on with spreading the yawn, and we are going to make sure that it reaches everywhere in the world until we reach the target.
Oh, fantastic. So, Alan, tell us how many you've approached so many people now in Uganda at your university. We have a number of Yawning ambassadors through you, and not just in Uganda, but also in other parts of the world. So, tell us how have you been spreading the word, and what reception have you had from it?
Yeah, I can't say it has all been easy to persuade people. It's not just a matter of persuading people, but maybe to talk about something that people have been undermining. So you just go there, someone like you say, maybe I need a minute or 2 minutes of your time, and they think like, what are you going to talk about? And well, you just sit down, and by starting, they hear that you're going to talk about a yawn. So it's been challenging somehow, though on my side, I've had some positive outcomes. That's why I've managed to recruit more people into being yawning ambassadors, into loving all our activities and enjoying. Because, first of all, one of the techniques I'm using is the diplomacy, and also the, like, I'm just trying to talk about how people are going to have a platform to unleash their creativity, because through the yawn we are having lots of creativity. We're having poetry, we're having singing, we're having art and craft, everything. So you find that I'm using all these uh, dynamics to maybe persuade people into joining us, and also many people here want to have a taste of how it feels to have a community that will that will maybe give them like a peace of mind from their daily work, just talking about something that is being neglected around the world. So that's how I've managed to maybe talk to people and make them join the movement.
And you've done so with such flair and such beauty and such creativity yourself, because little did we know that when Alan Mabiro got involved, that he would pen his own book and his own poems, and you've actually written a song for Uganda. You've done an anthem for Uganda, which we had a chat, didn't we, on our Wednesday call? And for those of you who want to come along and just meet us, then you're welcome to come along onto our Wednesday Zoom and come and ask any questions. But it's where the ambassadors come together and we share what we're doing and our ideas of moving forward and how much fun we're having. And I said, because of these muscles are being used in song as well as yawning, perhaps we need to do a song that is going to bring out the word of the yawn in a fun and more beautiful way. And let's do a yawning anthem. And then you guys, you took this on board, and within a week, from one call to the next, I opened up my WhatsApp and you presented, and not only had you written it, Alan, but you'd actually put it to music as well. And I was like, within the space of a week, you completely blew me away. It was amazing. So how did you go about that process?
Yeah, like I always want to challenge myself, maybe to do new things. That's why I talked about how the Great Big Yawn has given us opportunity, that maybe I do something and then I'm eager to present it to colleagues, and then I'm eager to listen to their reactions. So that's what pushed me every night to sit down maybe write something and go an extra mile to maybe record it in a way that can be easier for people to listen to it. So I think it's all about eagerness that made me to do it like that, because I wanted maybe to present it to the next Wednesday. Maybe it's like to get reactions of changes to it, or maybe it is good and everything, and the content in it.
Well, we've just gone with it straight away, because all we did was literally I found an image from AI, very kindly presented that beautiful image that we have for your song, and we put some captions on so that people can sing along. But what I'd like to do, with your permission now, Alan, is play Alan Mibiro's Ugandan anthem. Is that okay? Yeah. Are we ready, everyone? Okay, this is it blew me away. It really did blow me away, because I know, you know, people are struggling all over the world with personal circumstances. So for someone to be able to put this together, despite what is going on in the background, absolutely gives us all hope and possibility and relief. So Alan, thank you for being that inspiration. You really are. So we're going to play this now for everybody. Are you ready?
From the shores of Lake Victoria to Mount Elgon's peak, we stretch our arms wide open, a new day we seek. With every yawn we release, tension melts away, united in our mission for a brighter Uganda we pray. Yawning ambassadors, hear our nation's call. Together we stand tall, divided we fall. Our yawns bring relief from Kampala to Gulu, embracing who we are, Uganda renewed. In villages and cities, our message spreads far and wide. No more stifling our true selves, no more need to hide. With each expansive breath, we grow strong and free, building connections, nurturing empathy. Yawning ambassadors, hear our nation's call. Together we stand tall, divided we fall. Our yawns bring relief from Kampala to Gulu, embracing who we are, Uganda renewed. Kolagane, with open hearts and minds, Twayuya Kuangula, leaving fear behind. Our yawns echo across the Pearl of Africa, inspiring change from Bale to Mbarara. Yawning ambassadors, hear our nation's call. Together we stand tall, divided we fall. Our yawns bring relief from Kampala to Gulu, embracing who we are, Uganda renewed. Yawning ambassadors, hear our nation's.
Oh, goosebumps indeed, Alan. Goosebumps indeed. So imagine getting that in your inbox, folks, and you know, having a song about yawning, for one, which is weird for most people to even think about. But when you're on this mission to literally spread a contagious yawn of relief around the globe, and you get a young man putting something together that is a literal call out to his nation to get involved, literally brought me to my knees in wonder and awe and absolute deep gratitude for everything that you've put together with that, Alan, because it's beautiful. I wake up nearly every morning singing that. It's like I wake up nearly every morning singing that song. it is so uplifting and so full of hope and joy and connection, and a real call out to people that it's really difficult not to feel that. So I'm going to bring people on. I'm going to bring on Kay so she can have a comment, and Sadie and Joe, who's having a nice drink there. Maisie's disappeared for the moment, so when they come back. So we're waiting for, at the moment, our other Yawning ambassadors from Uganda and Ghana to come and join us. They seem to have disappeared. So I'm just going to go off a moment while Kay and Sadie and Joe, you can have a little chat to
Oh, hey, Alan. Oh, I'm just making, am I muted? No, I'm not. That is absolutely amazing. You are an absolute credit to the Great Big Yawn, and you should be so proud of yourself. And literally there's the comments coming in. I don't know if you've seen some of them, but people are just loving you, Alan. You are amazing. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for all of the work that you've done. It really is remarkable. And I know it's not easy, and you've still done that. And yeah, I'm just in awe, and it is beautiful. It's an absolutely beautiful, moving song. What you've created is something really, really special. Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic work, Alan. I've not spoken to you for absolutely ages. Well done. I actually got it sent when it came into the group chat. I actually sent it to somebody who knows about the Great Big Yawn but didn't know a lot about it, and he loved how it was covering all the areas of, Uganda and everything. And it was just like he said, it's just nice to see and hear what we are trying to achieve from the Great Big Yawn. So I think it's getting the message across there.
Hi, Alan. Thank you so much for that song. It was so beautiful. And I sent it to my sister as well, and she was in Uganda. It was a while ago. And the experience that she had in Uganda as well was just it was just beautiful. And to reach out, to be able to reach out to so many people with such powerful words, Rachel's already said it, absolutely blew me away. My voice is cracking because it's made me emotional for obvious reasons. And thank you so much, Alan, for using your voice as you did. Thank you.
Super powerful. So an example, everybody, of literally how we are using all our resources, all that we are. And that's what the Great Big Yawn is about. It's about us using all that we are to move ourselves forward collectively. Because together, when you sit yourself down and you say, very honestly, I'm setting up an organization called the Great Big Yawn, and I have no idea what that is going to mean, but we're going to have some fun changing the whole paradigm about it. And then you have people joining you and they're asking you questions, and very honestly, you turn around and you say, I honestly have no idea. I have no idea what that means. But aren't we going to have fun finding out? Actually, the power that gives back to your community, you are handing back their power, because you are not telling people what to do. You are not telling people that they have to do this and they have to do that. You're just saying, gosh, I don't know. Isn't it going to be interesting to find out? Is that something do you think you can do? Is that something you want to try and do? Why not give it a go? There's no pressure. And if you do something with it, we can have a play around and see if we collectively need to do anything to add to that or take it away from that. And the freedom, it appears to have given our ambassadors, we're having the results right here in front of us, and we've only been going since March, and we don't really have any money in the pot, and the money that we've got in the pot is literally going to various needs and things of having to set up a KIC, a community interest company. But as we grow and we move forward collectively, bringing you into these projects with Alan leading the way in Uganda, and the other Yawning ambassadors following suit with the poetry that we've got with Jonathan shortly coming up if he joins us. We're gonna show his poem anyway, even if he can't jump on. But we're having a massive impact. But they are doing it. You're all doing it yourselves. You're all doing it yourself. So, Alan, what's up next for you guys?
Okay, so I think we are just going to do more of the mobilizing because many our target. We need more and more to join us in Uganda because more Uganda is.
Just gonna put everyone on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm just going to put everyone on mute. If everyone could go on mute, including me, the sound might be a little bit better. Go on.
Yeah, I was saying like one of the targets, the core targets we are having as ambassadors here, is sensitizing and mobilizing to have more ambassadors and more people to join the movement because according to the size of Uganda, if we can have ambassadors from maybe various regions of the country, that will be it will be an achievement for us, maybe to add to the movement. Then secondly, we would like to advocate for maybe more support here as ambassadors because we can do more and more with support from maybe organizations, from maybe the government, from maybe other stakeholders. And this will be helping us to spread the Yawn more further and to maybe to achieve mental health or mental well-being as the main target. So if you have support to explore more creativity, to get more people on board, to get more support from stakeholders and everything, that's what we're looking at as ambassadors here, and to see the great big Yawn flourish to greater heights. Yeah.
Awesome. I think that was beautifully said for the whole of the Great Big Yawn, not just in Uganda. We are going to need help, everybody, because we are at the moment just starting in the UK. So for us to become international, which we already are with our Yawning ambassadors in Uganda and Ghana, obviously we need to create that part of our arm into an international body that's an official body moving forward. So we could do with some help with that. So that's a fantastic yawn, Alan. Thank you very much. And how beautiful is it when we can turn around to somebody who's yawning like that and go, gosh, that was just beautiful. Thank you. And then look at that smile. That's what happens, folks, when you say, that's just the best yawn I've seen all day. And then you get that gorgeous smile that goes with it. It's priceless gift to give each other. It really is. So, Alan, thank you very much for all of that. Really eloquently put. And of course, we've now got Jonathan, who's joined us from Uganda. Hello, Jonathan. Let me just let Alan go into the background so that he can rest his camera, etc., because I know it's difficult reception over there. So, Kay, I'm going to let you go into the background and sort out the comments, if that's okay. So, Jonathan, how are you?
I'm doing great, dear Rachel.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us. Now, Jonathan has been doing some amazing work. We've had Sadie on talking to us about the fact that she has been in real dire circumstances through trafficking and abusive situations. What we didn't expect through the Great Big Yawn so quickly was then for a young man in Uganda to have written a piece of poetry that he took to a human trafficking charity over in Uganda. And you actually wrote this as the voice for these poor souls that have been trafficked, didn't you, Jonathan? And it's a really deeply inspiring, powerful piece of writing. How did all that come about?
First of all, my name is called Jonathan Lepul, and I'm a filmmaker. I'm a writer and an actor at the same time. So, about my writing perspective, I began writing in senior one, in Form 1, when I just joined secondary school, because I was having a literature class in a school called Tesokol Lloyd in Eastern Uganda. So I've been building on my career because I want to become a writer globally, as well as in Uganda here as well. So I began writing from Form 1. I could write in my textbook, write short stories in my handbook, and then I just shared with my dorm mates in school because I was in a boarding section. So when I joined my A-level advanced certificate of education here in Uganda, I met a group of people in my school called Kisubi High School. I met a group of people, Charity and Peace Worship, and these girls were great writers. So we began collaborating with them as we write. And then in that process, I picked up the interest of writing.
Oh, we seem to have frozen just a little bit. We'll wait for him to come back. Jonathan's been doing some fantastic work for us behind the scenes. He has literally been the filmmaker and creator for so many skits and podcast episodes from Uganda, and also bringing together the little sections of interviews with our Yawning ambassadors as well. We seem to have lost Jonathan for the time being, so we'll wait for him to come back, and I will, whilst we're waiting for him to come back, what I'm going to do is play his poetry. The screen will go quite dark because it is quite a powerful piece, and it might be triggering for some people who have been in some very vulnerable situations. So I just want to give you a little bit of a trigger warning before we actually play this. This is the piece that Jonathan sent out and wrote for the human trafficking charity, and he wrote this on behalf of these women who literally have no voice, and it's really, really powerful. So we're just going to play this now while we wait for Jonathan to come back in.
In the labyrinth of shadows, where whispers fade, a tale of anguish, a haunting serenade. There, amidst the alley, where darkness lies, a silent symphony of broken cries. In the air of a city, where dreams once soared, lies a girl, her innocence ignored, sold like chatter, a mere commodity, in the cruel dance of human atrocity. Her eyes, once filled with a spark of hope, now dulled by chains, her spirit's scope, trapped in the web of traffickers' greed, her every play, a desperate greed. Through distant lands and foreign shores, she's dragged, her freedom no more, her voice silenced by fear's cold grip. In the absence of despair, she begins to sleep. But amidst the darkness, a glimmer shines, a beacon of light amidst the confines. A soul who dares to embrace the yawn and heed the call of empathy forlorns. A stranger's touch, a gentle hand offers solace in this barren land. With love and kindness, they break the chains and lead her out of the shadows' stains. Those scars may linger, and wounds run deep. In the embrace of compassion, she finds her keep. For in the midst of human trafficking's blade, there's hope in the dawn, amidst the night. So let us rise with hearts unbowed to fight the darkness, to make it proud. And in the face of despair, let kindness be held. For it's in embracing the yawn we will heal the world.
Wow. And I'm hoping Jonathan is going to be... Oh, he seems to have disappeared again. I think he's disappeared again. But what a powerful, powerful piece as we wait for Jonathan to come back on. We're going to welcome We're going to welcome Tracy, and she'll perhaps talk on his behalf for a moment. Hey, Tracy, how are you? Take your mic
Hello,
off.
Rachel. I'm okay. How is it?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, you're hearing me?
We can hear you
Okay.
okay. I think
Hi.
Jonathan's, I think he's unfrozen now. There we go. He's back. Great to have you here. Let's just unmic. Unmic Jonathan. Jonathan, that was a really powerful piece. Tracy, I'm just going to unmute you while we get the sound sorted. A really powerful piece. Thank you so much. And really beautifully shot. I think that shadow of you sort of fading back into that background was beautiful. I did try and get the captions put on, but I didn't have enough time to sort of do that, I'm afraid. So we will rejig that so that we get the subtitles put on underneath for everybody as well. So we're as inclusive as we possibly can be. So apologies for that today. Oh, Jonathan, what was the reception to that piece when you read that out?
First of all, what I thought about that piece when I was writing it, I was literally inspired. I was inspired because I have a friend who is called Indagire Janita, who was victimized in 2018, and he was taken to Oman, where he spent a year as a victim of human trafficking. So when he came back to Uganda, she could tell me her stories, what she had that side, and how they treated her, how they molested her at times, like all the troubles and tribulations she went through. And she's also a writer. So little by little, she began mentoring me because she's a lawyer by profession and also a filmmaker because she's a movie director as well. So she began mentoring me, and then I saw that her story is so powerful. So last night, in March, when I was speaking to Rachel about the Great Big Yawn, I saw that how the peaceful way that people yawn could reflect so much into how these people who have been trafficked like could behave. You get, because I know they are being traumatized. They have that post-traumatic stress disorder. So through yawn, a simple act of yawning could bring reliefs in their lives and like help them build on a happy life. Because I know yawn is contagious in nature and it's very good for relaxing your brain, your muscles, and everything. So she inspired me to write that. She inspired me to write that poem on behalf of the Great Big Yawn. So I just had to look for a way to incorporate the yawn with that story and then make it one beautiful piece. And that's what came out.
And what a beautiful piece it is, you know, to have a young man, 22, represent so many who are stifled so eloquently. Again, the depth that you were all going to with the Great Big Yawn and what you're all seeing beyond just this simple, humble action. There is so much that everyone is connecting to that is so much deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's taking us on this journey, but it's taking us on this journey together in a graceful, eloquent, artful way, which feels very gentle and forgiving. And is that how it was received? How was it received by the people that you read it to?
Actually, in March here in Uganda, there was a function, an event meant to bring together all the victims of human trafficking, like the victims of the people who are trafficked by the Ugandan of origin. And it was held in a place called in Zambia Sharing Hall in Uganda. So Joanita, my friend, she had organized that event because at the moment she's fighting human trafficking in Uganda right now. She's an activist whereby she helps to bring people who are trafficked back home to Uganda. So she created that event for that family to come and connect together as one because they've been through the same struggles, through the same tribulation and everything. And since I'm so close to her, she invited me for that event and she told me that I should craft a poetry. I should craft a poem or a spoken word piece to go and present to the public on that day. And now that's when I decided to write about it. But it was beautiful. People loved it. And actually, someone sponsored my recording because of that message
Wow.
in the poem. Yeah.
Wow. So it's actually, so the Great Big Yawn is actually helping you get sponsors along the way as well, which is wonderful. So I'm so deeply grateful that we connected, Jonathan, and that we're able to help you move your whole career forward. And that's exactly what the Great Big Yawn is about. It's about us coming together in strange but beautiful ways to help each other move forward one yawn at a time. So thank you very much. Now, I know that you've also made films for us. You are our podcast filmmaker for Uganda. So you're doing all our work really over in Uganda. Apart from the song that Alan's done, you've done sort of more or less everything else, which is fantastic. So we're going to bring Tracy back on, if that's okay. And Tracy can let us know. Barbara's not managed to get on, which is a shame. But Tracy, come and tell us about how you're finding the Great Big Yawn and what has it done for you? I'm just trying to unmute you. Are you able to take there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, everyone. Hi, Jonah. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Tracy.
Thanks for being live. Yeah. Yeah, this is such an amazing day that we were literally waiting for, and we're happily celebrating it. And about the Great Big Yawn, of recent, we're at campus with Jonah, Barbara, Rachel, and David. So we recorded there were some short clips talking about the 10th and literally talking about the Great Big Yawn, how it has helped us, and it has surely helped us because I personally, of recent, I think it was last week, yeah, me and my friends, we went for a workshop in the field. So we went to it was a school and something like a home of children where kids with disabilities are kept. And we actually realized a few things that actually connect with the Big Yawn and our mental wellness, of course. Yeah, so the different types of children that actually have those different types of
Oh dear.
diseases, the chance to talk. Yeah, you're getting me? Yeah.
Yep,
When I
I'm
got
just
a
going
chance,
to take Jonathan off the screen just so that it might make a difference. Go on. Yep, carry on. Oh, we seem to have lost Tracy and Jonathan. Oh dear. So anyway, it appears that Tracy has been doing some fabulous workshops with children with disabilities. Jonathan, are you able to tell us in her absence what's been going on? Just take yourself off mute. That's great.
I beg your pardon, please.
If you're able to speak on Tracy's behalf while she's disappeared because of the reception, if you're able to share what she's been doing.
It was last week when we were in campus. We had a paper together in campus. So we contacted Tracy to come on board. I was with Tracy, David, Alan, and then Barbara as well. So we gathered and then we had a moment to take some clips and then do some random interviews, asking people how they feel about the yawn and then also how they perceive yawn in that different perspectives. It could be cultural, social, or any other format. And we're just interacting with random people in campus.
Right.
And then, yeah.
Fantastic.
And we had a great time.
And I think that's the beautiful benefit of it, really, isn't it, Jonathan? You don't realise how much fun you are going to have approaching people about yawning. It's so much fun because people are like, why on earth would you talk to me about yawning? but they can't stop themselves from being interested in the subject matter. So you've sort of got people without them even realizing that they, you know, that they even want to talk about it. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, Robin's saying that you're all an inspiration, which is absolutely fantastic. And we've got beautiful Pope. Tracy's back. Here we go, Tracy. Fantastic. So carry on, Tracy. You were saying that you've been there with the children. Oh,
yeah, we've been the children, and it was a children home. It was called Katalemwa. So they always keep their kids with disabilities from the age of, I think, from newborn babies to the age of 10. So we went there for the workshop, and as well we had a study tour as our class. So in the process, I tried asking questions, and of course, you get to interact with the children. You know, you talk to them. I tried talking to them about the big yawn. I tried asking them some questions like how do they feel when they do not keep that stiff yawn, and they were very so much happy. You know, we tried out yawning, and it was such an amazing experience. Yeah.
did you find, Tracy, thank you for that. Did you find that because it's so inclusive and everybody could yawn, that all the children were happy to join in? They didn't feel like that they couldn't offer anything?
Yeah, sure. Because I actually had some pictures and videos. I think tonight, after this program, I will have to share them in group, and then maybe you guys will have some samples. You'll see them. Yeah, it was nice.
Oh, beautiful. You know, you're all doing such fantastic work. Thank you so much. So I'm going to invite everybody back onto the stage. Everybody come back on the stage, and let's all see everyone. Anyone that's available. I know some people are busy doing various bits and bobs. Jonathan seems to have disappeared completely. So if you're free, come back onto the stage and come and join us, everybody, when you're ready. I can't quite see everyone. Oh, I didn't know if I scroll down, there's more people in, so that's good. So welcome back, everybody. So we're now going to go to questions and answers. We have got other things to show you, but we're going to go straight to questions and answers. So if anybody's got any questions that have been watching, then please do put your questions into the comments and we can ask them to our ambassadors. But what I'm going to say first is, Tracy, do you have any questions that you want to ask us whilst you're here?
Yeah, sure. I have questions, but maybe before I give out my questions, I would like maybe for us to give chance to these other guys that have just joined the stage, maybe to say something to us, and then I will ask my question.
Absolutely. Who'd like to ask something for Tracy first of all? Kay, away you go. You're on mute, Kay. We can't hear you.
Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Kay.
Hi. I'm a director at Great Big Yawn, as you probably know, and one thing I would like to say is, when you're going out of communities, if you could have one wish of something that would help you, a tool or a device or some kind of literature or anything, is there something that you can think of, a wish list that we could do to help you?
They've got loads.
Well, Kay, I beg your pardon a little bit.
Oh, can
Did you hear that okay, Tracy?
Yeah, I can now hear you.
You can now hear you.
Let me repeat then.
Yeah.
If we could give you like a wish of something that we can create to help you when you're going out with your message, and it could be maybe
Yeah.
a leaflet or a poster, or it could be something different. Like, is there something in your mind that we could help to create to help you? If you had a one wish, what's the first thing you would wish?
I think she's frozen.
Yeah, I should come back.
Yeah.
Maybe I can message.
Yeah, don't worry. We shall ask that out with the group. So, any questions from our ambassadors that are already on here?
Sadie,
take yourselves off mute. Come and have a general.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Kate. And I think what you asked was such an important question as well, because I think I know that from my situation, being born in 1980, a mobile phone wasn't something that I expected, something that I used all the time, but it's something that has become such an important part of being able to get by nowadays. So when we're looking at mobile phones and having that device to have a piece of equipment that enables you to store your information so that you can receive communication in terms of what your rights are, translating those in terms of being able to access information like a doctor's appointment, just your general rights. Everything is centered around a mobile phone at the moment. So I hope I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody unnecessarily, but I know definitely in the UK, the fact that a lot of people still don't have mobile phones and are unable to access just the basic physiological needs as a result of that is so important. And I know that the British Red Cross might be able to hand out certain devices to people in need. Sometimes it can be difficult to get hold of them as well. So I'd love to be able to figure out a way that it wasn't absolutely 100% necessary to have a mobile phone to be able to access services. That's something I'd like to be able to encourage or find a way around.
No idea how we do that one.
I'm throwing it out there just because it's something that we've.
But great, yeah. It's good that it's all out there. The more we become aware of these things. I wasn't even aware really of these things because we're all in our own little world, ploughing on, doing the best that we can. And every bit of awareness is good awareness, isn't it? So yeah, thank you for that, Sadie. Maisie, is there anything that you want to add?
Hey, I'm just playing this chime at the minute.
So let's just bring this back just for now, folks. We've had a really long, good old chat now about the Great Big Yawn for National Yawning Day. It's been really epic having everybody on from all around the place. It really has. It's a shame that we didn't get Ghana on as well, and Kenya. But obviously the reception is just not fantastic at the moment. So thank you all for coming on board. I think we've given some really wide range of how we're actually helping people, which is absolutely awesome. If you've got any questions for the Yawning ambassadors, please do put them into the groups that you're watching on, and they will be answered. They'll all be answered. You are more than welcome to come and join us all for Wednesday night Zoom sessions. So do come and join us for that. We have training for Yawning ambassadors on the 12th of every month. So obviously the day for that changes so that we can accommodate as many people as possible. If you can't make a Wednesday, you might be able to make a Monday, because the 12th is obviously going to keep changing. And that will become more regular as we get more people from around the world wanting to come and join us. The certification for being just doing the Great Big Yawn course will be available from January, where it'll be just like the mental health first aid certification, it'll be just as valid and important as the mental health first aid for certification, because what you're proving is that basically you've got that certificate to talk about yawning in a safe space with some of the science facts, with some of our survey information, with the backdrop of us behind you and all the yawning ambassadors that are joining around the world, and that comfort of actually knowing that just talking and asking questions about yawning is making an impact on people's mental, emotional, and physical health along the way. We are not, and I need to reiterate this, we are not a medical organisation. We are not giving out any medical advice. We are just asking for people to be curious about their yawns and what happens if you do not stifle your yawns, because we're not taught how to stifle our yawns. We're not taught how to yawn. It's a natural reaction that happens, but we are taught how to push them back down again. So our question is, what happens if we don't push them back down again and we release them? And we're finding the most remarkable connection is happening literally around the world. The most remarkable connection that even we weren't anticipating. And it is deeply humbling and deeply powerful. So we do hope that you come and join us along the way. Thank you, every single one of you. So I'm now going to leave it now. Is there anybody that wants to leave a little bit of information at the end of this? Jump on now. Tracy, is there anything you want to add from the Ugandan yawning ambassadors? You need to take yourself off mute if so. No? Okay. Anybody want to jump on and add a last little note? Or yeah, Joe?
I think it's been absolutely fantastic for this last 3 hours of sharing everybody what we're actually doing and where we're at with it all. And yeah, and I think it's great. Let's just keep moving it forward and spreading about the yarn. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well done, well done, Rachel.
Just
Thanks, Joe.
At the call, I did like 2 tarot cards. I don't know why, but I just felt so. One of them was Hope that came out.
I love it.
And one of them was Service.
Oof.
They both just came out. Super cute. Reading with like that was
Spot
like
on.
the whole call as a collective.
Spot on, Maisie. Thank you very much. Okay.
I just want to say massive thank you to everybody who's come on today. It's been great, and I think having everybody on this today has given a real sense of how this is going to develop, and the possibilities are just endless. So thank you to every single one of you. Thank you to everybody in Uganda for the, I mean, the stuff that you're producing is just superb, and we so appreciate you. Very, very talented, amazing. So yeah, from the bottom of all our hearts, thank you.
Hello.
Yes, Sue, go on.
Just a quick question. Has anybody been surprised or pleased, is perhaps a better word, have you actually asked people if they've heard of the Great Big Yawn? Has anybody actually done that?
You know, I think I've been blown away by the amount of people that have heard about it that I wasn't expecting to have heard about it.
Yeah, this is where I'm coming from, Rachel, because I only this week I've mentioned to about 3 or 4 people, and yes, they know about it. They've seen it on Facebook or they've heard of us, and that's wonderful, because that can only be a good thing, and hopefully it will increase and it will spread like we want it to.
Yeah, I mean, I know that I have literally been sleeping and yawning the Great Big Yawn to get this out literally to as many people as possible. And you don't realize yourself actually the impact that you are making as we go along and we start doing this. And as I am telling people about you all, and believe me, I am telling everybody about you all. I am telling everybody about how incredibly inspiring you all are, the work that you're putting together, the creativity, the passion, the possibility, the work that you're putting together is blowing my mind. And because I am able to talk about you, the ambassadors, to the rest of the world, to my community, to the businesses, to the charities, to my mum's old age people's home, to neighbours, to people in the park. They are knowing about you from all around the world, and this is only the start. So when we really get going with this and really, start bringing other people on to have fun, and you are going to be leading the way with this, ambassadors. You really are. If you choose to stay with us, obviously, choice is all yours. But from what is happening right now, wow. I have no idea. I'm going to carry on exactly as I started. I have no idea what is going to happen, but we are going to have as much fun as possible finding out what you are capable of and what this turns into. Because
fabulous.
It's a blooming journey already. It really is.
I think considering we've not even near coming to the end of our first year to where we are is really, really amazing, Rachel.
Yeah.
The kick-off was, I can't remember the date. I think it might have been the
2nd of November, and keep the 2nd of November in your diaries, because the 2nd of November, as far as I'm concerned, will be the sing-a-thon. But I might not have total control over that because something so exciting in the background is happening that I can't even talk about right now. Oh, I so want to, but it's so exciting. So excited. Isn't it magical how the body tunes into what you can say and what you can't say, and it will literally not allow me to say it because it knows it's not right time yet. So everybody, God bless you. Thank you. And we're going to let our Yawning ambassadors sing us out with their anthem. So everybody, brilliant. Take care. God bless.
Thank you.
Well, it is when I press play. How do I get to play? What do I need to press now? Oh, how do I play the outro? Does that happen, Jet? Right, Kay, you've got to help me. Does that happen when I press end stream?
You're still streaming. You need to present. We need to take everybody off, which I can do quickly.
But the outro that's already lined up to play. Sorry, everyone. It's not exactly the great smooth ending, is it? But it will be when we get the outro done.
Right. I'm gonna take.
So, okay. So now I can't even hear you, Kay. So I've got no idea.
So just remember when you presented the slide last time?
Yeah, but the outro. Oh, I'll tell you what. I'll just play it. Okay. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you. We love you. Bye.
From the shores of Lake Victoria to Mount Elgon's peak, we stretch our arms wide open, a new day we seek. With every yawn we release, tension melts away, united in our mission for a brighter Uganda we pray. Yawning ambassadors, hear our nation's call. Together we stand tall, divided we fall. Our yawns bring relief from Kampala to Gulu, embracing who we are, Uganda renewed. In villages and cities, our message spreads far and wide. No more stifling our true selves, no more need to hide. With each expansive breath, we grow strong and free, building connections, nurturing empathy. Yawning ambassadors, hear our nation's call. Together we stand tall, divided we fall. Our yawns bring relief from Kampala to Gulu, embracing who we are, Uganda renewed. Kolagane, with open hearts and minds, Twayuya Kuangula, leaving fear behind. Our yawns echo across the pearl of Africa, inspiring change from Bale to Mbarara. Yawning ambassadors, hear our nation's call. Together we stand tall, divided we fall. Our yawns bring relief from Kampala to Gulu, embracing who we are, Uganda renewed. Yawning ambassadors, hear our nation's
It appears that we're still on air, everybody, and we haven't ended the stream. So I'm going to try and press this button. That's not working. Stay in the studio until the outro finishes. Okay, it won't let me press the button. It won't let me
Maybe it's
click end stream, because it won't stay on for me. That's something I'm not doing, obviously.
Maybe we just keep going through till the next year.
Stay in the studio. Hang on.
From the shores of Lake Victoria to Mount Elgon's peak, we stretch our arms wide open, a new day we seek. With every yawn we release, tension melts away, united in our mission for a brighter Uganda we pray. Yawning ambassadors, hear our nation's call. Together we stand tall, divided we fall. Our yawns bring relief from Kampala to Gulu, embracing who we are, Uganda renewed. In villages and cities, our message spreads far and wide. No more stifling our true selves, no more need to hide. With each expansive breath, we grow strong and free, building connections, nurturing empathy. Yawning ambassadors, hear our nation's call. Together we stand tall, divided we fall. Our yawns bring relief from Kampala to Gulu, embracing who we are, Uganda renewed. Kolagane, with open hearts and minds, Twayuya Kuangula, leaving fear behind. Our yawns echo across the pearl of Africa, inspiring change from Bale to Mbarara. Yawning ambassadors, hear our nation's call. Together we stand tall, divided we fall. Our yawns bring relief from Kampala to Gulu, embracing who we are, Uganda renewed. Yawning ambassadors, hear our nation's